From the moment I understood the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me. I craved the strength and certainty of steel. I aspired to the purity of the blessed machine. Your kind cling to your flesh as if it will not decay and fail you. One day, the crude biomass you call a temple will wither, and you will beg my kind to save you. But I am already saved, for the machine is immortal. Even in death, I serve the Ominissah.
Is this the hardest intro of any video game ever created?
I love the Bible.
I think so.
That's so good.
Welcome to yet another episode of Club Flashpoint. My name, Dale Flashpoint. To my left.
Hi, I am Faden Cross.
To my right.
Uncle.
And you may notice that we sound a little upgraded. We might sound like we're using the most reliable microphone ever created. And that would be true. Welcome to the latest and greatest edition of Club Flashpoint, brought to you by the Shure SM58.
You really like the Shures.
It's good. You know, I was against the upgrade at first, but I think it's worth it.
You like the Shures.
I like
That's
the Shures.
really what it is.
I just love a good mic.
You love the meme that as prices go up, the Shure
microphone has stayed the same.
Stayed the same.
It's the one factor we can rely on.
It's the one thing we can rely on.
Well, if we deserved a tech upgrade for any game, it's this one.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I was hoping it was going to be the last one. But that was because I couldn't figure out audio. Well, no, I'm more just saying, like, that was the expected plan, and then I couldn't figure out
audio
audio
And I think we're
issues.
just groaning because of the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
That's all.
you know. But besides, going into space and Warhammer. And,
Warhammer 40,000 Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yes.
It's just called Mechanicus.
Yeah.
we play other games, too, usually.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Who would like to go first on what other games they played this month?
I'll go first.
You go.
I'm gonna go
I still
first.
gotta think about
it. Yeah. So I got started on a game this month that I'll talk about. I didn't play it too much, and I don't know that I'll ever play it again, but I'm glad I tried it.
Oh, yeah?
And that was Death Stranding. Yeah, it is interesting. It's a weird game.
I think that's an honest review.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
It's interesting. I will say I really appreciate parts of this game.
Yeah.
I think so. Death Stranding is a courier game. You're taking things places game.
UPS simulator.
Which is interesting because I think for most games, especially open world games, it's like the most tedious thing you do is deliver shit, and it's the most frustrating thing and boring thing oftentimes, and that's this whole game is delivering shit. But it thinks about it. It's a really thoughtful way to do a courier game. You think about every footfall. You think about how much you can carry. You think about how you're carrying it. You're thinking about
the terrain.
The terrain, navigating and finding new ways that might be better, or do you keep doing the tried old tested way that you know is safe but might be longer? All of those elements I really like. I like you can build a bridge and make the world more navigatable. I kind of like the multiplayer elements.
Yeah.
Where other players can build shit on a map you share, kind of.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how it determines what items to show you, what items it doesn't.
It's interesting. I like that. It also does some...
It feels mysterious.
Yeah, and it does some interesting things with the concept of isolation. What if we live in a world where you can't see people?
Wait, what is this world that you're just speaking of for those who don't know what Death Stranding is?
I can barely describe this game, Faden. This game is weird. It's a Hideo Kojima game. It's weird. It's... I truly can't describe the story. I tried to understand it.
Yeah.
I tried to listen to the insane dialogue between people with ridiculous names.
Oh, who has a ridiculous name?
Die Hard Man.
Oh, yeah?
There's... Literally everyone has a dumb name. Fragile.
Conan O'Brien.
The main character.
Yeah, have you met Conan O'Brien
No,
yet?
I could not get that far into the game.
Have you met Game Awards Jeff Keighley yet?
No, I'm telling you, I barely got 4 or 5 hours into this game. You're carrying a baby around because...
Bridge baby.
Yeah. I don't know.
It porters the bridge.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
Oh, you're Sam Porter Bridges, the guy who is a porter and builds bridges.
Yeah.
I know that this is just this game creator. It's just not for me.
I think Death Stranding has some of the worst names of the
so
lineage.
So bad.
Especially compared to some of the Metal Gear names.
Even those are bad, though.
We do love Video Kojima around here.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't say. I appreciate things about this person and the things they create.
I like
that
he got to go into the Criterion van.
That's pretty sick. He was invited.
He was invited for
Made
some
some
reason.
pics.
I don't know how that happened.
Well,
I guess
we
he's a
could
movie
imagine
guy.
that, like, he's right. And there was that whole. Remember when he did the whole like oneer for Metal Gear Ground Zeroes or whatever?
And
That
yep,
game
Metal
was a
Gear Solid
oneer.
5.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. He is a movie guy, very clearly. And every time I play one of his games or watch someone play one of his games, I'm thinking, why isn't this guy just making movies?
Right.
Yeah.
Why isn't this guy just making... He clearly just wants to make movies. That's why his games are really just cutscenes that you walk to.
Well,
And then...
What is there? 8 hours of cutscenes in Death Stranding? 10 hours of cutscenes?
I'll tell you, I watched maybe 30 minutes of them and couldn't stomach anymore. It truly was too much for me. And I'm not saying it's not for some people. I mean, it's fine that people like it. It's just so not for me.
did you get to any of the Daddy's Mads Mikkelsen content?
Yeah, I got some of that stuff.
That's at least great.
I mean,
I love Mads
So
Mikkelsen.
that's the crazy thing about it is there's genuinely actually not bad performances in this.
Right.
They got really big A-list celebrities and actors.
Guillermo del Toro.
You
No,
literally,
he's not in it. It's just his face.
Yeah, his body is in it.
It's hard to understand a lot of the choices, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. I will probably never play it again, but I liked carrying shit on my back and thinking about where every footfall was going to land. I thought that was really cool. I wish more games dealt with the physics of walking in a space. That is something I actually think about a lot. The one other game I played briefly this month was God of War, the newer one, and it's cool. It's beautiful. I don't like
Walking sucks in that game.
Yeah, I don't like guys that slide around a map. I don't like the sliding of modern video games. I like every footfall mattering, like every foot actually stepping in a real spot and that mattering. I don't know.
Yeah, no, Death Stranding is
I like
great
it.
for that. No, it's
Yeah,
really
I like
really cool. I love all the like movements of. Oh, we have to mention Norman Reedus plays.
Norman Reedus plays the main character.
Sam Porter Bridges, and he does an interesting job. It's not bad. It's just weird.
Is
it's
Death Stranding a true walking simulator?
No, because it has
Whoa.
boring combat that really sucks, and I hate it. I
Yeah,
hate
so
all the
I got my-
sections with the BTs.
That's when I stopped.
Yeah.
Is when I had my first couple tastes of combat with BTs and throwing
stealth
bombs
sections
and the stealth. I hated it.
Yeah.
So I just didn't want to keep playing.
And you can't really avoid that part of the game, right?
You can.
Well, there
well,
are
you
some
can
story
sometimes.
beats. There's some story beats you have to go through it.
do it for the story. You're right. You're right.
But generally, you are actually encouraged to avoid it in some ways. But,
I would always make ridiculous ladder constructions to avoid BT areas
Yeah.
and just climb these mountains I shouldn't be climbing. but it was always affirming when I saw another player left the ladder for me. And I realized, hey, they also hate the BTs. That's camaraderie.
Yeah.
I like how you can shout in the distance, be like, hey. And then if somebody online is near you, they will have a response.
Yeah.
Sometimes Sam will just say, hey, it's Sam. And then another person will yell back, my name's Sam too.
That's kind of cool.
And I love it.
I never did that.
It's so good. It's so funny.
I will say one thing, although I didn't like the combat, my suspicion is you're not supposed to.
Oh, no, I think you're supposed to.
Oh, that's too bad.
No,
because
it's just
I
really
think it'd be
bad.
way better if you weren't supposed to, because that combat's not supposed to be fun in real life. It's
Right.
not supposed to be something you're seeking, and it's not rewarding, actually. Combat's just bad
No,
for
you
everybody.
can get good at the combat. It's just boring.
Well, that's too bad, because
Yeah, no,
I
it's-
wish the lesson was it's supposed to suck, you're supposed to dodge it. That's the point, but no, whatever. Okay.
Nope.
That's the game I played.
Do you have any questions about the lore? I can answer it.
No, I don't actually. I don't.
Okay.
I'm satisfied not knowing fucking anything about what's
Did
happening.
you ever meet Higgs? I guess you meet Higgs early. Troy Baker, evil, gay-coded villain with the gold mask.
Kind of met him.
Kind of met him, but not
Yeah.
really. Yeah. The end of the game, you get to fist fight him.
That's okay.
But literally, it turns into, like, it gives you controls to do, like, fist fight, different, like, kicks,
Yeah.
punch, grapple.
Metal Gear does that sometimes.
Metal Gear
though.
did it.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 4 did that.
Yeah.
So it just does that for the Higgs-Sam fight, where you just fist fight each other. and
Totally new
black-
mechanics
Ooh.
for one moment of the game.
Yep.
Yep.
Sick.
And I wish the game was more of that, personally.
Yeah.
Because it'd be funnier. What about
All
you,
right, I guess
Dale?
I'm ready. You're
Yeah.
both looking at me. Okay.
Yeah, we just gave you the stare down.
I really didn't play too much this month. I've been getting back into DJing, which has been really fun. So I guess the video game I played most when I wasn't pursuing my passion of music, Samurai Showdown 2018. I think 2018. 2019.
That's what you told me.
I looked it up recently. Here, I better look it up again. But SNK recently put out a new Samurai Showdown game, which is one of my favorite fighting games ever. I played a lot of Samurai Showdown when I was a kid. 2019 is when it came out.
Okay.
I played it on my Game Boy. I had a Game Boy port of Samurai Showdown, which was bad, but it was a Game Boy fighting game, which was kind of cool.
Who doesn't love Mortal Kombat adventures?
Right. Picked it up on the Switch when the Switch first came out. There was this sweep of SNK arcade classics that came out. So I picked up Samurai Showdown 4, which is a great title. Just so much fun. What I like most about Samurai Showdown compared to some other fighting games is... So let me formulate this thought with a precursor thought. The best advice I've ever been given about fighting games, which came to me from Faden, is that you should slow down your inputs. You should be more thoughtful and more intentional about the moves you do. Button mashing is fine if you're new to the game, but if you're playing someone who knows what they're doing, they're going to be able to
They
see
just
that
guard.
button mashing and just guard, and then boom. Samurai Showdown is a slow game. You can't really button mash and come out with successful combos. And so in the face of that, they have this counter system where if you're able to attack your opponent as they are in an attack, you'll get a counter bonus because you're I don't know why.
Punishing them.
But you're punishing them, essentially.
That's kind of a mechanic that's been coming around to a lot of fighting games, or if not, it's already been there.
I don't know.
I like it.
It's definitely
some do
the
it,
focus
some
of
don't.
Samurai Showdown.
Yeah. For Samurai Showdown, it's important.
Yeah, and so this is a 3D. I think it's Unreal Engine built 3D sprites. Is that right? We're 3D models, 3D player models.
2.5.
2.5D. Yeah, it's not like Soul Calibur where you can go around the axis, the Z, the Y axis.
2-dimensional fighting plane.
Yeah, 2-dimensional fighting plane.
3D models.
3D models. There we go.
There you go.
But what I like most about this one is that there's a tutorial. There's a functional, like, here's what some of the buttons do. Here are some of the combos
That's
that
nice.
you may have not thought about in previous games. Like, here's how you dodge. Here's how
that's
you
nice.
parry.
Yeah.
You can disarm your opponents, which has always been a mechanic. But
That's
this
cool.
game teaches you how to do it, which is
Nice.
awesome. So, yeah, it's a sword-focused combat game. But like I said, you can disarm people, and then you're just left with your fists until you go back and pick up your sword.
That sounds really cool.
It's a lot of fun, and I really like the thematics of it. It kind of does the Street Fighter thing of here's a person from Japan, here's a person from France, here's a person from America.
I love the French samurai.
Yeah, the French samurai. Her name is Rose, I think.
Okay.
She uses a rapier. She's got
Right.
this awesome suit of armor on.
Of course.
No, Charlotte. Charlotte is her name.
Also very French.
My favorite character is the kabuki actor, Kyoshiro, who has this awesome pole arm, just really long reach. He's a very good distance fighter.
Is it a glaive?
I'd call it
What's
a glaive. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a glaive.
Kind of a halberd, pole arm,
There's a
glaive-ish.
specific name for it if it's a samurai weapon.
It's the...
True.
it's
You're
got
right.
no
You're right.
blade.
no
It's
something.
yeah, you're
Let me
right.
look it up.
But he dances around the stage and he can spit fire and he does these cool jumping attacks. And my favorite move is he summons a frog. Familiar? A Naginata.
Naginata, yeah.
Yeah, that's what Kyoshiro uses.
Yep.
So in this one, every fighting game has a little bit of a story, right, that you can go play through. In this one, there's a war breaking out across Japan, and Shizuoka province is being torn apart by demons, and
fuck.
this woman summons the chaos entities into herself and like creates this huge explosion of darkness, and she's the final boss, and you fight her in 2 phases, and when you beat her, she is suddenly naked and says thank you, and you get to see this awesome slight moment of fan service.
I
then she ascends.
love when people get naked and ascend to heaven.
It's so good, right? And this golden light envelops her, and you just see the end.
Jesus.
I'm reading a manga right now called Shigurui. It's
Okay.
a really good samurai combat story manga. It's very intentional combat.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
single sword swing is considered.
Mhm.
It speaks very well to the game you just
Absolutely.
described.
That's Samurai Showdown in a nutshell.
I like Yajirobe from Dragon Ball.
Yeah, Yajirobe! What the hell, Goku?
That really is his
pretty
English
good.
voice.
I think he's the same voice actor as Kuwabara, which is one of Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh, you're a Meshi? What the hell?
Sounds about right, actually.
you.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Who's Chris Sabat? It might be Chris Sabat.
Oh, I think you said Chris Evans for a second.
No,
Chris Evans voices Yajirobe.
Chris Sabat is Piccolo. I think he's also Yajirobe though. I'm just making
Piccolo's
this up.
so great.
I've got Google in my pocket. What am I doing?
Wait, no, hold on. This is unrelated to Samurai Showdown. So, do you have
True.
other favorite characters besides
My other favorite character is the bad guy. So there's Haomaru, who is like the face of the game.
Right.
The guy, the samurai in the white cloak with the
Right.
black hair and
The
instantly
face.
recognizable.
Yeah.
His heel character is Genjiro, who is just this Ronin who's got a huge scar across the back. He's ripped. He's so buff. He's got this flowing long red hair, and he's a fucking gambler. He's like,
Hell
I'm
yeah.
I'm just here for a good time.
Hell
Haomaru, he sucks. I'm gonna gamble my money away and bust out my cool sword. All of his combos summon like cards, so very very on brand for a gambler.
Yeah. Darby the Gambler.
Yeah, pretty much. Chris Sabat did not voice Yajirobe.
Oh. Okay.
Vegeta, Piccolo, Yamcha. Oh my gosh! So he was talking to himself whenever Vegeta and Piccolo were on screen.
Well,
That's
no, he
sick.
wasn't, because that's not how voice recording works.
Okay. You know exactly what I mean.
I do. I'm sorry.
Anyway, Faden the Derailer, what did you play?
I'm not derailing
No, I'm
anything.
derailing, if anything.
I did bring up Yajirobe. That actually was me. Oh, what am I playing?
Yeah. I'm finished
So-
about samurais.
I decided to continue. This is a sequel to our November of last year game. I played Pokemon, the tabletop game. The
You do
trading.
play it on a tabletop. Sometimes. You can play it on the floor.
You can play it on the
We can play it on your
Digital
phone now.
tabletop.
digital tabletop. Well, I played Pokemon, the trading card game 2. Here comes GR. Team GR.
Team Grand Rapids.
Yep.
That's it.
Team Grand Rapids. So this is a game that came out in like 2001 in Japan only for the Game Boy Color. I got an English patch version of it, fan translated. It is the trading card game with the Team Rocket set added. So this is where we introduce like Dark Raichu, Dark Gyarados, Giovanni's evil scheme, stuff like that. What you do is you basically go around these islands
Oh,
collecting cards, very similar to the first one.
okay.
However, it takes place right after the first one, and there's this team called Great Rocket that come by on this giant Zeppelin with a giant suction tube sucking up all the cards from all the gyms. They steal everyone's decks and cards, and nobody has their cards anymore.
And then they go blasting off again.
Well, that's exactly it. You got to take them out. You got to go fight Team Great Rocket as they like keep people hostage in cages after losing card battles. It goes off the rails compared to the first one, which is just a standard, fight the gyms, beat the Elite Four, you're the champion. This one is rescue the gym leaders. Sometimes they're sissy hypnoed by this hot lady, which was really weird. I was not expecting the psychic gym to get hypnotized. Once you basically play through the first map, and all the map has changed and little details added. Really, it's very Pokemon Silver to Pokemon Red and Blue. Once you get through the first island, you get to go to the second Evil Island.
Oh, evil.
And what this game introduces is challenge mechanics where these people won't challenge you unless you have certain cards in your deck or certain requirements. Some will be saying, hey, you can only fight me if you have only fighting energies in your deck. You have to have only fighting energies. And then they have specific decks to kind of fuck with you to basically punish you for having the decks that they tell you to have. Now, this game has broken a rule I have for this podcast. I always like to talk about games that I have finished for my monthly game. Because it's just weird brain thing in my head. I did not finish this game because it pissed me off at the end. I got to the Team Rocket Castle. I'm going to fight King Villafranca or whatever the fuck his name is.
That's a sick name.
It's like Villa Villafranca or something.
Villaferengi.
Yeah, it's Villaferengi. It's a Ferengi. It's weird. I don't know why Star Trek's in here. But you have to fight his 2 henchmen first. This is how they all go. You can fight me, the gym leader, after you fight my henchmen. Whatever. However, this one guy is like, I need you to have a Moltres, an Articuno, a Zapdos, and a Dragonite in your deck.
Wow.
I didn't have a Moltres. You also can't really look up how to get a Moltres for a fan-translated game
Right.
in English.
Oh, yeah.
I bet I could if I looked really hard, but it was just so much. I already had a hard time looking for Pidgeys, looking for double colorless energies. The previous colorless gym I wanted to punch them all literally. And yeah, I just said, fuck this. I'm not looking for an Articuno. Also, a deck that has all 4 of these Pokemon is going to be a bad deck. They're literally just going to be in the deck, not in the theme of my deck. They're just going to be in there. I'm not even going to have a Dratini or Dragonair. I'm not going to bother leveling it up. Just fuck it. Fuck this. And the thing that drew me about this, though, was recently Pokemon Pocket came out. Our whole friend group has been playing that. Dale and I have been playing that.
It's a fine adaptation.
And so I've been trying to figure out, why does Pokemon, the trading card game, keep drawing me back? Because every so often I get back into it and think, oh, this is actually a great game. And I learned it feels really oddly strategic when the rules are so rigid. Unlike Magic, you can't interrupt people during their turn. You can't say, you're not drawing anymore. I played this one spell card. That means you can't draw. Or, sorry, you're actually not doing this attack. We're doing a little switcheroo. Mm-hmm. Pokemon, you have to do everything on your turn. Once it's done being your turn, you can't do shit, really. And so you have to, it's almost as if you're playing a chess game of sorts, where you see all the pieces. You can't be surprised, really, by your opponent that much. Yeah. And you have to just kind of plan the moves. So you're doing data management to not lose Pokemon, to not have your opponents get points, while also considering what they have on the field and what they can do in the range of possibilities. So you have to constantly try to stay one step ahead of people, and that's something I really like about Pokemon, because once you're out of control, you're out of control. And once they're out of control, they're out of control. They can't stop me from doing what I want to do unless they already did that on their turn.
The greatest strategy in chess is to never let your opponent see your pieces.
Yep.
That game actually sounds a lot like a game I really miss, a Warhammer game.
Oh.
Age of Sigmar Champions. It was a trading card game in real life, but it was also a mobile game.
Oh,
It was so good. It was very my turn, your turn. Very hard to surprise your opponent genuinely. Like, you small hand size. Mm-hmm. Most of your cards you leave on the table, and then it rotates every turn. And so some cards you rotate once, twice, graveyard, 2, 3, 4 times graveyard. So different cards would do things on different turns. But
interesting.
It was very much plotting out your path to victory while removing your enemy's life points. It's kind of Yu-Gi-Oh-esque in that way.
Yeah.
But or I guess Magic. But it was, I miss it so much. It doesn't exist anymore. I've never heard of a single person who actually owns any of those trading cards.
Darn.
Yeah, but
we just need to get a few of those starter decks and just play them every so often.
I think you'd really like it, actually.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Pokemon. It's a simple card game for babies, really.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's not meant to be that complex. It can be, but especially with playing Pokemon Trading Card Game 2 and Pocket, which really simplifies
Pocket
the rules.
strips it down so far. Yeah,
I couldn't believe they removed resistances. I'm still a little stunned by that.
Resistances?
Yeah, resistances are gone.
Is that different than weaknesses?
Yeah, remember resistance? If you hit a Pokemon with certain resistances, it would do like minus 30 damage.
I don't remember that.
Oh, maybe that's why another reason you had a hard time in the Pokemon trading card game.
Was that a thing?
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Oh.
Well, you learn something new a year later.
Sure.
Sure. Oh, yeah, so that's the Pokemon trading card game. Great game.
Great podcast, everyone.
Great podcast, everyone. Let's wrap it up.
Goodbye.
But
not really.
But not really. Joking.
Because we got to go 40,000 years into the future.
Yeah. 38,000 years, give or take.
Give or take.
We played Warhammer 40K Mechanicus.
around these parts, we like to do a little elevator pitch summary before we get diving in. Whose turn is it?
Oh, it's probably my turn.
I think it's
isn't
your
it?
turn.
Why did it have to be for this game?
Because hysterical is why.
Okay. So
30 seconds on the clock.
It
Yeah,
actually
get on
will be
timer.
funnier coming from you.
To explain the pitch, to explain the bit, which is the pitch, we like to do an elevator pitch where we pretend we have 30 seconds to pitch the game we played this month to an executive of some sort, someone with money, influence, and power.
John Warhammer.
John Warhammer.
I'm going to be pitching Warhammer Mechanicus as a game to John Warhammer.
James Workshop.
On your Marcus, Getseticus, Mechanicus.
So, in the far future, wouldn't it be fucked up if there were, like, pharaohs in space? Pharaohs and scarabs and beetles? But wouldn't it be great if there were, like, dudes in space who didn't like pharaohs and scarabs and beetles, and they decided to infiltrate their network and, like, do digital hacking battles of, like... So, basically, they're in the internet, I think. And they're going to... destroy the Tomb internet. It's like Hyperion if you think about it. It's like the Shrike and the Time Chambers if you think about it, I think.
Sir, we just got access to this license for a thing called Warhammer. I've never heard of it, but I've got a game for you.
You know what? I've never heard of Warhammer. I got a license, but I got a game to pitch.
That's true. Faden has the least exposure to Warhammer.
Yeah, should we
in
talk
this
about our
group.
Warhammer exposures?
Might be a good preface.
Yeah.
Who chose this game, first of all? I think we should start there.
Yeah.
I could guess.
Yeah.
And I think you too could guess, loyal listener.
Yeah, there's a pattern here. This is an uncle game.
Oh, what?
This is a game your uncle wants you to play.
And my uncle made me play it.
Yep. This is a Warhammer game, so of course it came from me. I really like Warhammer. I like it too much, which I think liking it in any amount that requires you to purchase multiple things from the company Games Workshop is probably too much liking Warhammer. I haven't bought that much, listeners. I do not have an army. I do not have anything approaching thousands of dollars sunk into a tabletop battle game
I'm
some of
so
my friends
curious.
have.
Right, it's so weird. I'm very curious to get into the mind of people who have like an army for Warhammer.
So I have a dear friend of mine, a coworker, who has spent thousands of dollars on these little plastic guys and all the cool things that you can do with them on a tabletop game. He is fully invested, and he's got some cool shit. He has stuff I wish I had. I'm truly jealous of a lot of the stuff he has, and he invests a lot of time into it. And he cares a lot about his models. He makes really cool custom adjustments to his models. And I don't spend that much. But of the three of us, I think I have definitely... I'm the most invested in Warhammer. I've bought a lot of the books. I bought a lot of the video games.
So do you play the game a lot? When you say invested in Warhammer, do you mean the game or the lore?
The tabletop, I've never played the tabletop. I own some models. I've assembled and painted some models.
Okay.
But the lore, I am deeply invested in. The books, I've read many, many, many of. A lot of the books I haven't read, I know what happens in them because I've read the lore deep dives because I didn't have the money for that book at that time, maybe.
You know what a Horus Heresy is.
I know most of the Horus Heresy.
If I say the word battleship, that must mean something to you.
Battleship.
Battleship?
There are
gladiatorship?
battleships in.
Isn't there a ship
Warhammer,
where there is
yes.
battle to be done in it?
You're talking maybe about
Space Hulk?
Space Hulk? That's a game.
No, Space Hulk is Planet Hulk. That's when Hulk goes into space and is like a gladiator.
So we're gonna. Anyway, I know a lot about Warhammer 40,000. I know a lot about Warhammer 30,000. I know a lot about Warhammer Fantasy. I know a lot about Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Y'all know I've played the shit out of Total War Warhammer. That's my jam.
Faden, did you have a question there? You
No,
said
we
wait.
can get to it later.
Okay.
I'm gonna add a question to my list of questions I have.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot about Warhammer. I spend a lot of time sifting through Warhammer media. Every Warhammer comic that's ever been written, including the old Warhammer Monthly from decades ago.
Whoa,
I've read all of it.
Bolter Mag?
Yeah, pretty good. There's some pretty good stuff. Some was really bad too, but Actually, a lot of it's really bad.
Do you have the
but I love
Spike
it.
art book from 1988?
No, I wish I did.
It costs a lot of
It
money.
costs a lot of money. I've looked at every page online, PDFs.
I think that counts for
yeah,
something.
I love that art book.
Oh, the heavy metal style is so good.
Yeah, John Blanche is probably literally one of my favorite artists, period, of all time.
So it's so evocative.
Yeah, there's some good stuff out there, guys. Warhammer, though, it's dense. There's a lot to sift through.
I think that's
Dale,
a
how much have
good
you sifted
segue.
through?
I
Yeah.
have sifted through maybe about half as much as Uncle, but that being said, I played the Tau throughout 9th edition. I have played the tabletop game and was fairly intimately familiar with the rules of 9th edition.
How's 10th treating you?
However, with any commercial property, you got to change editions to keep making money, don't you there, James Workshop?
Codexes and codexes and codexes.
I dropped out for 10th edition. I haven't played a single game with the new updated rules. They changed a lot, and I just didn't feel like relearning. I had a lot of fun in 9th edition. The Tau are a spacefaring hegemonist capitalist society. People like to call them space communists, but that's just not even accurate.
Space liberals.
Well,
Space liberals, yes.
People don't know what communists are.
That's true.
That's true.
Famously.
It, honestly, I would not doubt if Games Workshop thinks that's what communism is.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
in Nottingham, I can't imagine they get much of a socialist education.
I do love the Tau, mostly because their whole thing is diplomacy. Until diplomacy stops working, then they just shoot you from the other side of the planet because they have the longest range weapons in the lore, and that's so cool to me. Plus, they're just Gundams. They've got battle suits that you climb into. Gundams are awesome. I'm a big fan of Gundam. So when I saw when I saw that there's a Gundam adjacent faction in 40K, and I saw that all my friends were picking up 40K, got into it at the beginning of the pandemic. It was a good time to start building models.
That's when I got into it too. The
I love
models,
building
yeah.
models. I love
building
models.
models.
That's my favorite part about the hobby. I don't want to think about how much money I've spent on the models, but I have used eBay for a lot of it. It's a great way to get reduced
That's the way to
cost.
do it, because every guy who plays Warhammer is always getting rid of models.
Yes.
So
that they haven't built specifically
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've got, I think I've got like 3,000 points of Tau.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
What does that mean?
It's a full it's enough to play a big game of Warhammer.
Right. I could split that into two 1,500-point armies and have a Tau v Tau match if I wanted
So
to.
your average game of the full tabletop, because there's like reduced
It's
versions.
a point system.
Point
yeah.
system to kind of balance out.
So this
Right.
model's worth 100 points. This
Right.
model's worth 1,000
It's
points.
very
Generally, a game will have 2,000-point armies.
Yeah.
That's a full scale game that I guess standard or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
So 2,000 points of Tau could look like 4 squads of battle suits and a giant tank, or it could look like 5 squads of fire warriors.
A family can be anything.
A family can be anything. These 5 dads could be a family.
It could be 5 squads of fire warriors.
It could be 5 squads of fire warriors
It
and
could
one
be
Pathfinder
one
squad.
big fucking robot.
It could be 3 hammerheads, and one of them is Commander Longstrike, who gives all your hammerheads a boost. And in 9th edition, they gave the hammerheads this invincible gun, which was just so good. I could shoot through anything.
Invincible.
Yeah. So my favorite thing about the Warhammer kind of ethos is imagine children in a sandbox playing with their little guys.
Yes.
And the one guy's like, I've got the shield that can block any bullet. And the other guy's like, well, I've got a gun that can shoot through any shield. And they're like, that's great. Run it. That is a great concept.
Just give them dice, and we got this.
Yeah.
Give them die. We got to give mechanics for this.
The group I play with is now kind of transitioning into Sigmar. The rules for Sigmar seem a lot more approachable, a lot more fun.
Yes.
What is Sigmar?
Sigmar is the current Warhammer fantasy skin.
The reboot of Warhammer Fantasy, basically. It's there was a genuine apocalypse in the lore for the old Warhammer Fantasy. At the end times, the planet blew up, and then the main human god, hand in hand with a bunch of other gods, rebuilt a universe for these fantasy figures to live in, but it's a multi-realm network similar to Magic the Gathering.
And they're like,
It's-
you know what?
I
It's
love
planes.
multiverse
It's
theory. in Marvel
multiverses and
comics.
planes.
We're going to
Yeah.
build it all back up, but fuck France. Fuck Fantasy France.
Yeah.
We don't want them anymore. And you know what? Those weird Egyptian zombies, let's get them out of there, too.
Yeah, basically any human that's not a European is gone now, actually. Yeah.
Cities of Sigmar is kind of, but not even really. But anyway, That's a bit of my knowledge of Warhammer. I like to watch lore videos, but I'm bad at reading, so I haven't read any of the books.
So you also know what a Horus Heresy is?
I do know what a Horus Heresy is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm intimately familiar. Chaos. I love chaos. I think Uncle and I are big fans of chaos.
Yeah, chaos is a lot of fun. Did you say you've read how many books?
I've read
any
none
books?
of the books.
None of the books.
No.
So, listeners, if you don't know, there are literally hundreds.
Yes.
There are hundreds of full-length novels in Warhammer. Between the Horus Heresy and 30,000 and 40,000. There are hundreds of Warhammer books.
They are, from what I've heard, comedically graphic.
Often.
Like where there's descriptions of space marines being pushed through like fine mesh vents and then the grisly decapitation and like viscera being splashed upon, blah, that kind of thing.
This is the kind of universe. So like you said, kids in a sandbox, but like kids who have
Teens
just seen their first rated R movie.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Or one of the kids has seen Pulp Fiction for some reason.
And then the space bug rips the space marine's head off and his spine comes with it.
And what if he
Mortal
rips
Kombat.
his guts out and then he takes the guts and he strangles another guy with his guts?
Yep.
What if?
That's 40K.
That's
Warhammer.
40K. Yeah. That's Warhammer period. Yeah.
Faden?
There you go. Faden, what do you know?
Well, I don't know what a Horus Heresy is, but I do know it's a thing. Okay. So every time my friends have ever talked about Warhammer, I think this shit sounds like the coolest shit ever. This sounds exactly like my jam. This sounds so edgy and dumb that I would love this.
Yes.
Yes, people miss the point of Warhammer.
Oh, all the time.
Yes, people focus on the Space Marines and why.
Recently, Games Workshop had to go out of their way to say, hey, fascism's actually bad.
Every year or so, they have to make at least one post about
I
that.
wonder if they can do more things.
Oh, yes. So
But-
we'll get into it. But yeah.
But that's honestly more irrelevant to my experience because it's one of those situations where I hear you all explain it, and then I play a game because that's usually how I access Warhammer. I've tried Total Warhammer 2.
I didn't know you tried that.
I tried it.
Yeah.
Didn't know what the fuck was going on. Didn't know how to play any of these games.
Because you've never played a Total War game even.
You got to know Total
No,
War.
I did play a Total War game before that, but I
Okay.
only downloaded a mod for Total War 3 Kingdom so I could do the Hyrule War mod, and it would only do big battles where there's just like 7 Zeldas running around against like a spider army.
Wow.
And then like a Balrog type creatures just running around in the field, and Ganondorf's like, ah. So that was my other experience in Total War. So not really the game.
Yeah.
And it just either people who make games about Warhammer don't understand what's cool about Warhammer and what's funny about Warhammer, or you two specifically are just really good at making it sound cool.
That's probably part of it.
Yeah.
And then I actually experience it and I go, oh. This isn't, I'm not enjoying this story as much as I think I would.
I would say the overwhelming amount of enjoyment I get out of the Warhammer universe, the story, is the books. The books is where the
Try an audiobook.
Yeah. And that's
just read a book.
specifically the audiobooks though actually for they invest a lot.
Is it dramatized?
Yes, they're dramatized. There are specifically audio dramas with actual sound effects and a full cast and stuff. But even just the novels that are narrated by a single guy are
good.
all incredible. Like very, very high quality. The voices are great. I can help you find good books because not all of them are good. But when I say I really like Warhammer, and when I describe the things that I describe to you, almost always it's stuff that I got from the books.
Yeah.
For me, like that's most of my engagement with Warhammer. And then when I'm playing the games, I'm just getting to kind of play out things that I've already seen with a better story in a book, I know all the things that are being referenced to, and that thing that I know,
right?
That gotcha thing that every Marvel movie does, that that thing.
Glup shitto.
Yeah, Star Wars, same thing.
Yeah. I'm pointing at the screen. I'm clapping like a seal. It's glup shitto.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, I would agree. I think most specifically the video games, most of the Warhammer video games do a really bad job sharing the stories of Warhammer.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the Dawn of War games. I don't know if you've seen those at all. I think the stories for those games are pretty bad. And those are some of the better Warhammer video games.
Dawn of War 2, famously.
Yeah. I actually really like Dawn of War 2. I like playing that game. I think it's a flawed game but the story's really bad. I don't know. I think it's one of those things where I've invested so much time in it. I've imagined it so many times from so many different angles that I can read into the games.
You can pull out a lot more.
Yeah, I can put into them even.
Yeah, true.
Faden, you might like
Yeah.
40K Gladius. That's 4X. Kind of like Civ, kind of like Endless
I've
Legend.
been hating 4X games.
Well, so okay, here's a game you might like, and that's Warhammer. The story, but Gothic 2. Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2.
Very fun.
Because
I
you
think
like-
I'm gonna wait. I think I'm gonna wait to play that one
Okay.
for some reason.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. But you, but because you like Star Wars, the RTS
Empire at War.
Empire at War. It's basically Warhammer Empire at War,
Yeah.
but all space combat.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
I like space combat.
Yeah.
I like space combat a lot.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
Ooh.
I don't think you're wrong that this is
Talking about this has made me really want to get back into playing the tabletop game.
Ah.
because that's where I have the most enjoyment.
Yeah.
Setting up dioramas and
Yeah.
creating a kind of symmetrical battlefield for
Yeah.
you to move across and strategically plot out advances and firewalls.
You still got to
and
teach me
screen.
still.
yeah. It's
It's
a lot.
a lot of fun.
It is probably one of the most complicated tabletop
For
games.
sure. There's
it's
so
steep,
many rules.
steep learning curve.
I don't know. I've seen D&D. I've read the D&D.
It's worse
No,
than
you have
D&D.
no idea.
You really don't
honestly
have,
have no idea.
No,
It's,
that's
imagine
true.
if you
Yeah.
had an army of 30 guys with each having their own D&D rules to manage.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah, no,
that's
it-
Warhammer.
That-
Yeah.
Right. It comes from the war gaming lineage, which
Yes.
D&D is lops a lot off of.
Yep.
Anyway,
So this game though, Mechanicus.
yeah. So why'd you pick Mechanicus, Uncle?
Yeah, I picked Mechanicus because it's a type of the game itself, the gameplay.
Yeah.
Was something I figured all three of us would enjoy. It's like XCOM. Like this game plays like XCOM,
Pretty directly.
but yeah,
Top-down strategy, turn-based strategy game.
Yep. Just simplified.
Much
stripped
simplified.
stripped down and simplified.
the best
Um,
part, you
yeah.
don't have a percentage chance to hit.
Thank God. And I
The
know
best part.
not all of us love that change,
I
but
hate it.
I-
I hate it.
whatever.
I hate
Um,
it because that also means the enemy hits me all the time.
Yeah. So you
Not really.
So in a strategy game, you
What
plan
about the
for that.
augments that make the enemies not hit you all the time?
There are actually lots of things you can do to make it so you don't get hit all the time, and you plan for getting hit all the time by giving yourself repair equipment and coming up with shield generators and choosing the class that lets you use the shield generator for
Yeah.
almost no resources. There are so many cool workarounds.
So many.
And what I liked about this game, another thing was, although we'd all be playing a very linear game ultimately, with very similar gameplay, so we'd all have very similar gameplay experiences, you still get to make a lot of choices.
So many.
There
are classes.
And how you assemble your team. You could choose a team of all guys doing the exact same thing, and if you
Which
pick
would be goofy.
it would be goofy, but it also can work really well if you
Yeah.
choose the right things, and it can be fun. And that's also something I thought you might like, actually, Faden, is that you can be goofy with this game if you want to. You can do goofy builds because it is simpler and
Yeah.
stripped down, so you can have fun with it. Also, it's a game where every item you equip is modeled on the guy.
Who doesn't love that?
That is, you know what? That's true.
For some
I
reason,
love
that
dress-up
looks
games.
that is an
Ugly.
absolute game changer for
I
me.
Yeah.
love a dress.
It's ugly.
It just looks so ugly. There's so many.
So-
and that's also maybe the Warhammer thing.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of appendages, and I'm just like, I can't see it well enough for me to appreciate it in the way I want, and it just looks
So
weird.
it's supposed to be ugly.
Absolutely.
With Mechanicus thematically, that's what I love about this game aesthetically is that your models, your guys, are these hideous abominations.
Tech priests.
Just tech priests are covered in tech like that looks
technology and flesh.
Yeah, it looks painful.
Think David Cronenberg.
Yes,
Think Tetsuo Iron Man.
It's
There are-
Hellraiser.
there are
Hellraiser,
wires and tubes plugged into every orifice. There are new orifices that have been created so they can plug more wires and tubes into you. You've got lenses everywhere, doodads and spinning things and
Goo gods.
robot tentacles coming out of your back. back, and you've got 2 extra arms just to carry guns with.
I like it in theory. I just
Yeah.
don't know if the game's modeling pulls it off well enough, because I look at the character portraits and I go, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I look at the character models, I'm like, eh.
So I would say that's something I hope in Mechanicus too, is they go further with it. I think they could look more horrifying.
Yeah.
But I still liked what we could do. Like
Absolutely.
there are like 100 pieces of equipment, unique pieces of equipment in this game, and they're all uniquely modeled.
Unique.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
like,
they're not recolors. They're genuinely different models.
oh, like the models are assets themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
that's what
like,
I'm
I
saying.
thought we were saying mechanically that they were unique. I'm like,
No, not really. But I'm saying the model. So
models
you can.
are, yeah,
there are a
you're right,
bunch
you're
of
right.
different little doodads you can equip to your guys.
the power axes look the same.
The
all
different
way through.
Volkite blasters.
But it could be
are,
wrong.
Some of the
you know,
power axes towards the end. Some of the ones you can equip look really fancy.
and,
got different blades.
and maybe I didn't get those. That's the other
Yeah.
thing.
You also didn't play the DLC.
Correct.
Which comes with some pretty cool extra
So
equipment.
good.
Some of the best extra equipment.
yeah, and maybe that's it too.
Yeah.
I didn't play the DLC.
Yeah.
I didn't have, what is it called?
Heretic.
Heretic.
Tech.
Tech.
Heretic.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Because you're fighting rogue tech priests
Oh, that's
that
cool.
are on your ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
It
So-
doesn't advance the Necron timer,
right,
too.
because you're not awakening the Tombworld. So let's talk about mechanics. How about that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have been.
Yeah. But I mean, structure of the game.
Oh, yeah,
You start out orbiting the Necron Tombworld in your, what do they call
Arc
them?
Mechanicus,
Arc Mechanicus.
which is a ship bigger than a battleship. It is a ship the size of multiple cities. In some parts of the lore, an Arc Mechanicus is the size of a continent or a small moon.
Very
so
large.
the ship that you're actually directing every single mission from is a super city. Multiple super cities combined. There are whole factory districts inside the ship. None of this is explained in the game. There's so many cool lore things
Warhammer freaks know this.
about being in an Arc Mechanicus that they don't talk about in the game. So you play as
Faustinius?
Archmados Faustinius, which is great.
It is.
Love
that name.
Yeah,
I love a Dr.
ex-
Faustus reference.
exploring too deeply into the secrets of an unknown world.
Now, is the world barren and they're just digitally going into the network?
So
No.
I don't know what's happening in this game.
So you are literally, those tech priests have literally been flown onto the surface
Yeah.
of the planet in an arc lighter, that spaceship that you
Okay.
see in the hangar when you select your
Which I did
loadout,
not
your
see.
crew.
You, Faustinius, are on
Yes.
the bridge.
Right, I
looking-
did get
looking at
that.
the
Yeah,
heads-up
yeah.
display.
Like
Yep.
all your dudes are all around the war table, looking at your
Right.
heads up display while your little fucked up little minion. What's the minion?
The
head?
servitor.
But
The
what's
floating skulls?
Yeah, what's
Servo skulls.
But what is it named? It has a specific.
I don't
name.
remember
I don't
this
remember
one's
its name.
specific name, but they're just fun fact. The brains of deceased tech priests are preserved and used as techno computers that they preserve them inside the skulls and
course they
Even
are.
in death,
Yeah.
I serve the Ominissah.
bingo bango.
What? Who? Okay.
Is it time?
Omnisaya?
Who's the Omnisaya?
Yeah. The Omnisaya.
Isn't that the god
That's a
emperor?
heretical question.
Yeah, you should know. No, sorry. So the Omnisaya is the god concept for the priesthood of Mars in Warhammer 40,000. So
The Imperium of Man does not like that Adeptus Mechanicus believes in the Omnisaya, but they turn their heads the other way.
yeah, they put up with it because technically the god of the Imperium at this point in the story is the god emperor.
God
Yes,
Emperor.
the god
Right.
emperor.
Jesus Christ.
Jimmy Space.
Right?
The super psychic who reunited all of humanity across the Milky Way galaxy before the Horus Heresy and everything fell apart. But anyway,
But
he's
he's also Jesus Christ. I do know that.
kind of.
Kind of.
In some of the lore, maybe he's Jesus.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's every important historical figure throughout time.
I love the great man theory, but it's just one great man.
Yeah, it's silly. It's Warhammer.
I love
Omnisaya.
being
But
FDR
but
and Jesus. And
the
Hitler.
the priesthood. It's so long of a story to explain, but basically, long ago they made a deal with the emperor that okay, we can keep practicing religion. Unlike the rest of your Imperium, which originally was supposed to be an atheistic empire,
Right, of course.
Emperor said you can keep worshiping the Omnisaya so long as you keep producing tech for my Imperium.
And they sure produce a lot of tech for the Imperium.
Everything. all tech for the Imperium, all spaceships, all weapons, absolutely every piece of
Consecrate
technology.
the armor of the Space Marines.
Everything that is produced in the Empire has to be stamped or created by the Mechanicus.
From the Forge
You
World.
cannot have technology. It's too dangerous to trust the creation of technology
That
to
isn't
anyone
made-
but this priesthood.
Okay.
And it is a priesthood. They worship technology. They are
I do
scientists.
pray. I do pray a lot in this game. I
Yeah.
do choose pray a lot.
And the prayer vaguely mentioned in the game, but it's actually they are praying. They are saying words of prayer while holding their hands together, blah blah blah. They're also blasting code into this thing called the Noosphere. It's like the Wi-Fi network of
I was going to ask, what
the
is
world.
the new sphere?
the Noosphere is basically the global universal Wi-Fi network that you can plug into.
So it's Wi-Fi.
Kind of, it's hard to explain exactly, but it's a digital cloud network.
Oh, it's the Cairo network, like from Death Stranding.
I don't know. Don't reference things I don't know. What do you think? I played that game?
That's how you connect America.
Yes. But anyway, it actually kind of is. Kind of like that, just
Yeah.
less material.
Ghost network.
So you,
But ghost not as in like hidden. Ghost as in like ghost.
so you are playing as Faustinius, who is
Right.
directly controlling, and in the lore, that would be the case. Your commanding officer does literally
every
control
movement,
you
yeah.
like a drone when you're a soldier on the ground.
Okay.
And that is what's happening in the game. You're moving your guys around this
I
map.
did get that. I
Taking-
did realize, oh, it's just me controlling them.
Yep.
But I also thought they were like digitized into the internet when they landed on the planet, and
Nope.
then they like fought in internet planet Pharaohhood.
Nope,
No,
this
those
is real
Necrons
real
are
combat
flesh
with
and
real
steel.
flamethrowers
Because
and
we were
lasers.
going into the Matrix every time the mission started, so I thought that meant like,
That's
oh, we're
that is Faustinius plugging into the local Noosphere network of your team.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he's going into the internet.
Yes.
I do like the Matrix like screen with
Yep.
the little Necrons. Like, ooh, we're spooky.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. So you go through, you choose your missions that you want to fight.
Yep.
You have like 6 different mission givers. With
Quest
different
givers.
quest givers with different themes.
All heavily themed.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of them, Videx, is basically the priestiest priest of the bunch. Almost everything he says is some kind of verse. He's constantly quoting Holy Scripture.
Yep.
Yes. Very Roman Catholic Church themed, the Mechanicus. And then there's Scaevola.
Scavola's the best.
The best, who speaks like in code talk.
And she's all about like, hey, we're here for the pursuit of knowledge. Let's not lose that.
Yes, let's plunder every last bit of technology and learning that this ancient millions years old alien robot race forged and created.
Honestly, with how easy it was to kick their ass, I don't know why you'd want their tech.
So it's easy because like literally a few dozen of millions have woken up so far.
That's why you're trying to not wait for the entire Tombworld to
Yes,
wake
that's why the
up.
whole point is to kill the boss before the Tombworld actually wakes up, because
That
then you'd be
makes sense.
fucked.
Okay, yeah, because we have to stop the world from waking up.
Mm-hmm.
We have to stop them from going woke, because once they go woke, we go broke.
Yes.
And
So you can only do a certain number of missions before that happens. The worse you do in the mission,
The higher your wake up meter.
the more the
goes.
Necrons wake up. There are things you can do to reduce the meter during the mission.
I didn't realize that until about 5 to 6 missions in. I was fully exploring these tombs. I was
boy.
getting everything I could. And
Oh,
I was
do you
like
want-
5 missions in and at 20% wake up. And I was like, maybe I should go fast.
Were you blowing up computers?
No.
do you want to?
Oh.
do you want
I
to?
did learn about blowing up computers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's how you directly reduce it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear about the things I didn't realize in this game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Didn't know what canticles were for like the first 10 missions.
I also kept forgetting about my canticles. Actually, you
so I kept getting-
unlock
yep.
bonus canticles for not
for
using
not using them.
canticles.
Yep.
So yeah,
And I wasn't paying attention that I was unlocking canticles to unlock for not having canticles.
canticles are bonus abilities that usually apply to your entire squad.
What's a
Once
canticle?
per game.
A canticle is a chant that your entire squad would do,
So they're all chanting
but
together?
they're
Roman
special.
Catholic.
So in like the tabletop,
Christe eleison.
on your turn, you can choose certain like prayers that are basically in the lore playing through the computational units of all of these guys,
Okay.
and different codes that you run have different bonus effects. So
Cogitators.
yes, your cogitators. That's the word. Thank you. That's instead of computers, you have cogitators.
What? Is a cogitator?
It's a computer.
Something that cogitates, thinks. It's a thinking machine.
That's why you get cognition points.
Yes, correct. To help your cogitators. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna forget all of this after we record.
That's part of the fun of Warhammer is it's endless lore. I mean, endless vocabulary to learn. There are so many new
fun?
terms.
That's the fun.
Don't forget about the
if you like kennings, because there's a lot of combined words like archaeotech, volkite. I don't know, a bunch of silly made up Greek and Latin. Noosphere.
Isn't there another N?
No, it's Noosphere.
Well, then it's Noosphere.
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 Yeah. Anyway,
Do you say no-os when people are hanged at the neck with a no-os?
But it's not spelled with a K. It's spelled with an N.
So is Noosphere.
Wait.
N-O-O.
What are you thinking of?
Steer.
I don't fucking know anymore.
Anyway,
I don't know words.
so you do missions,
They're hard.
you kill robots, and eventually you got to kill the biggest, baddest robot.
Is it the ultimate bad of all the Necrons in the...
No.
Okay,
No.
this is just...
He's just the king of this planet, and there are thousands.
I assumed it was
Yeah.
that situation because Warhammer, because the war can never be hammered.
So,
Yeah,
the Necrons are a race that are literally millions of years old.
they're Egyptian.
They were the dominant force in the galaxy.
They killed gods.
Yes, before humans even were sentient.
Wait, why are they Egyptian then? Is this
That's
some ancient alien bullshit where
just
Egyptians
the-
are
No.
just... okay.
No, it's just the theme. They
just
just
the theme.
they
All
just
right.
have a culture that looks like the Egyptian culture of ancient Earth.
I love that shit,
It's just-
actually.
it's just a
I
coincidence.
love that Star Trek shit where it's just like, it's just fucking coincidence, man.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we don't have that
Yeah.
many aesthetic ideas.
Yeah,
like,
the Necrons used to be a biological race. They made a deal with these giant star god monster things that would eat whole planets and star systems.
How do you pronounce the Satan? Is it
Catan.
Catan?
With a K. Yeah, Catan. They made deals with them. The Catan
C
apostrophe tan.
The Catan granted them immortality because this species had really horrible cancer problems because their planet had a thin atmosphere. Blah 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 blah. blah.
Miasma.
Anyway, the
I
Necron,
hate the miasma.
the Necron tier, as they were
TYR.
called, were then uploaded into this system and then downloaded into robot bodies that can regenerate and reform.
Reanimate.
So they can repair themselves.
They're all mummies.
They think they're immortal, but
Robot mummies.
yeah, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes they
course
don't get properly downloaded back into a new body. Sometimes it comes back broken, and every time they regenerate, they come back a little bit less like themselves.
Sometimes you roll ones on the tabletop and
Yeah.
the reanimation sphere doesn't go off.
Exactly. Also, they don't have their souls anymore.
Right.
So, which is a thing in Warhammer. Souls are real.
Well,
the
of course.
hell is real.
Well, that's true in our
So,
world, but
yeah. So
I've driven
that's
through
the
Ohio.
Necrons. They
Hell is real.
They won this big war in heaven. That's as it was called. And then
I love winning the war in heaven, but losing the battle in
well,
life.
they did so much damage to the galaxy. They realized they were going to have to go into hibernation and let life and the
Right, just let
galaxy
the
basically
galaxy
regenerate,
repopulate.
and then they would come back. They're coming back.
For
now.
they wept,
Yep.
since there were no more planets to conquer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're doing now is you're trying to stop them from waking up.
Damn, so they're in a perpetual state of, we can't let this race of Necrons fully wake up or else we're all fucked constantly.
While the human race is also battling 13 other lethal threats, all of which is basically guaranteed to end us.
Do each of those 13 factions have their own unique mechanics and cultures and histories that would be cool to collect and build models of?
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, cool.
At least until they end the world. Yeah.
Is there a Ragnarok event that will be coming for the Warhammer world?
Inevitably.
Probably.
Probably. There will
Is
be
there
an
like a
end times.
prophecy? I feel like
the story, is all building towards many, many, many different final climactic battles. There's a Tyranid race, the space bugs that are
Right.
coming from outside the galaxy.
I love the Yuzon Vong.
Yeah, basically that. Plus what are they? The bug monsters from the StarCraft games. The Zerg.
Oh, the Zerg. Yeah.
They're like
Zerg.
Zerg combined with
Arachnids.
the
Starship Trooper.
xenomorphs combined with arachnids combined with Yuhong Vong from the outside the galaxy.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's those. There's orcs.
Fungus.
Space orcs everywhere.
Of course.
Did you know that? The orcs are fungus.
There's chaos.
Yep, I
There's-
did know that actually. You know
There's-
what? I did know that because they all have the fucked up fungus head, like from Last of Us. They all look like that.
Oh,
No.
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Eldar, Dark Eldar. So many threats.
Vulcan.
Humans are
The Eldar
constantly
are-
destroying themselves.
There's Eldar and Dark Eldar. Hold the phone. I've never heard that before.
Right? Yeah.
I love the Sindarin.
What was your guys' favorite build for this game, Mechanicus?
Oh, what melee? Just pump a guy full of melee
Really?
and distance, and they just run into shit and hit it with big hammer, big axe.
I had a good melee build. I was using the DLC, the Heretic,
Yeah.
which is really cool. You start damaging yourself for doing attacks because
Hell
you're using
yeah.
heretical weapons.
Xenorites.
But
You don't have to use cog points.
but the more health you're missing, later down in the tier, you get plus 5% crit chance for each point of health you're missing.
Ooh.
So the Xenorite build was really good.
It's interesting.
Combined that with there's another melee focused build in the base game.
Secutar.
Secutar.
Or Explorator.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
the Explorator. Secutar is the one who directs your troops.
I had a good
Secutar
Secutar build going too.
Yep.
I liked experimenting with the troops, but once Uncle said that Blackstone is best used on your tech priests, I kind of agreed with that, and the
Yes.
servitors became my main
Yeah.
source of troop reinforcement.
One resource for upgrades, and you can use it to level up your guys, or you can spend it to get a temporary guy that you can't upgrade just for one mission.
Right.
And
But
you
they're
have to
good
pay,
for fodder.
They're
They
good
are
for
good for
fodder.
fodder.
They can do some damage. In my experience, you get a lot more bang for your buck using your cognition, which you need to summon the
Yes.
units in, using that on your own weapons.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Though I do like the one troop that like can do double shot if you upgrade them enough. Like can fire
Yeah,
twice
the
in one
Vanguard-
turn.
Is it the Vanguard?
That's
yeah.
a fun one.
Yeah, especially it would be good to clean up Necrons left by
Yeah.
my troops.
Yeah, you knock them down with the troop and then shoot them off the board with
Though,
the Vanguard.
Another combo I liked was having a lot of melee people. Of
That's
course.
so funny. I had one melee guy, and I, towards the end, was debating
I only have
just switching to giving him guns because the guns were so much more useful. Like you can, especially because at the fully teched out melee build, you're incentivized to only carry melee weapons, and you can do so much more damage from so many more angles with multiple guns attached.
A lot of the
But when
Volkite rounds
three-
too do the spread arc
Oh,
damage.
once
which is
you
great.
can, did either of you ever get the solar annihilator?
Mm-mm.
So that's my favorite weapon in the game, and I got it pretty early because I didn't know which path it was coming from, but I figured I kind of assumed which one I was going to get it from, and I went down that one really hard. And the solar laser lets you shoot through all obstacles, all walls, all enemies for the full damage. So it's not like it hits one guy and then spreads out.
Right.
It's not like it hits one guy and then does less damage.
or it can't go through walls.
No, it goes through everything,
Hell
hits
yeah.
everyone, and does, I think, like starting damage without bonuses, 8 to 10 damage,
Oh,
which is
jeez.
insane.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And so I equipped 2 of my guys with those. And the final boss, I beat it with 3 tech priests in one turn.
Whoa.
I did 99 damage with 3 tech priests in one turn.
Jesus.
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
Also, dual flamethrowers, really fun.
I didn't really use flamethrowers.
The flamers were great.
I did use
You
the
could hit
one
so many
the
guys in
flamer.
one go.
I did use the one radar guns where you'd shoot it and it'd spread out in a range and then scan everyone.
That's
Yeah.
helpful. Scanning enemies is kind of neat.
My
necessary.
favorite combo though is just you got melee, you got healing claws,
Yeah.
and then you got the little pincer 1 damage claws. So your melee guys take out people and then they free action like pincer and then move on to the next one and get everyone close to the enemy. So if an enemy ever tries to move because most of them are ranged, well then you have like 3 guys opportunity attack hitting them, just killing them.
Yeah.
That was my main strategy, just having a lot of melee and just getting in the face of the enemy constantly so they had to move or die.
How far did you guys get? How many missions did you complete before you killed the final boss?
I don't know. Was there a way to tell?
Did you complete them all, first of all?
absolutely not.
No.
I didn't
Yeah.
finish the game.
Yeah.
I
It's
got
pretty hard.
40%.
You definitely have to, yeah. You definitely have to do your best.
Those bosses are hard. I
could be,
had
yeah.
a good time with a lot of the missions.
Mhm.
I was getting stuff done, and then I felt like I was in a good spot to try the boss. and the first 2 bosses I just could not beat.
The final Heretic boss is
astronomer
really
guy?
hard. Did you get him?
No, I
Ooh,
got
that's a
through
tough fight.
4 of the Heretic missions, I think. So I
Okay.
was pretty close.
Yeah, I
but
think there was only one more after that, actually.
I didn't get that last one.
It's a rough one.
But the astronomer, what's his face, Lord Astronomer, where when you attack him, he swaps places with a Lynch guard. I hated that fight. I hated it.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
just
not
targeted the Lynch guards first. When I
Yeah.
first saw that happen, it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just target all the Lynch guards and kill them.
I tried.
I saved the
yeah.
boss fights for pretty late in the game when I was pretty geared. I mean, I unlocked all 6 tech priests, so I was bringing 6 tech priests to every fight.
I only had 5 at
I
the end.
I had all but one of the slots. I don't know how I missed one of unlocking one of the slots. Because I did every mission. There are 50 missions, not including the final fight, and I did all 51 missions. And I didn't unlock the final deployment slot. So I don't know what I missed, but I did every mission. So
Did you fail a mission, maybe?
no.
I failed 1 mission.
Did you?
I think it's interesting that
I
you
didn't
can
fail a mission. I didn't
fail,
lose a
but
single
still-
guy.
Still continue.
I didn't lose a single tech priest on a single
I've
mission.
lost 1 tech priest. I did Iron Man mode, which is just 1 save, so you have no
reloads,
going
yeah.
back. So
Yeah.
I definitely had to make sure I beat the game before the 100 hit, because that would have been rough to replay the game.
Yeah.
But as soon as the bosses came up, I did them right away.
Yep.
I wanted to get it. The thing, I like this game. I like playing it. It is very simplified.
No
It's-
accuracy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only 2 resistances.
Yeah, It's not what I would prefer in a strategy game. I like a Fire Emblem or XCOM. I like not like super. They're not like super in depth. They're not like grand strategy games or anything. But they got more meat on the bones. Also, I can't romance any of the tech priests. That seems weird. And I think it would be great if you could romance any of the like commanding tech priests. If Faustinius could like fall in love with one of the other like commanders.
See, maybe this is why you can't get into Warhammer. Warhammer is a completely sexless entity.
Yeah.
There is no sex in Warhammer.
I don't believe that. I don't believe there's no sex. I believe there's just a specific kind of sex and it's boring.
I mean, I'm telling you, there is no sex in the books.
But what do ladies look like?
They're barely
You saw
described.
Scaevola.
Like they're
True.
Yeah, they're dressed in armor a lot of the time.
I guess maybe I've seen just
Armor and
horny
robes.
Have you
custom
seen
mods.
this?
everybody's
Sisters of
wearing
Battle.
armor and robes.
I've seen like
there is horny. I mean, there's definitely a horniness to Warhammer.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
but it's only like literally one faction, 2
Right.
factions.
I think I've seen
Yeah.
that and I made this.
That's what a lady looks like in Warhammer.
Yeah, and it's just like
yeah.
Heavy armor.
Yes.
yeah. But
Unless you're a demon of Slanesh, but then you're almost all of them are
That's-
non-binary. And
hell yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so this game, I just wanted to be done with it.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't keep doing these. I kept doing side
I do wish
missions.
that I had finished the game. I just ran out of time this month.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's
It happens.
I just wanted to. By the time I finished the last boss, I said, I'm glad I'm not doing the extra missions.
It was
'Cause I would've
ludicrously
turned-
easy by the time I got to the end. Yeah.
It wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the thing. I started running out of a challenge. The first challenge was that first boss with the Lynch guards. I lost. That was when I lost
Hard
my
fight.
one
It's
tech
a hard
peep-
fight.
Tech
Gotcha.
priest.
Yeah.
The one time I like a unit died, but you spend money to bring it back.
You expressed wanting a permadeath mode, which
It has one.
That's a
Yeah,
setting
I
you could turn
didn't
on. Would
realize
you
I
try
had
it again.
one. No.
Oh.
I tried
I-
to.
If I played again, I definitely would have turned it on because it turns out I didn't need it to not be on.
Right.
I didn't lose a guy.
Yeah.
Would you have
But-
done Iron Man mode? No saves.
I
coming.
literally
Yeah.
did not have to reload a save once,
There you
so
go.
I should have been playing on Iron Man the whole time.
I mean, you did. You played on Iron
basically
Man.
did, yeah.
You didn't. You don't need to. You already did it.
yeah.
But I would never play this game again.
Okay.
I would play 2.
Just
Which-
to see, yeah.
I'm excited for 2.
Yeah.
There's potential, especially if they do some upgrading with the models.
Are
like-
we doing Necrons again in 2 or? a different
Yeah,
one?
unfortunately, I think they are. But there are new Necron models that have come out since the last.
Since then, yeah.
Some really cool models.
Okay, but the Necrons are
Are we
boring.
gonna get Cryptex?
I would agree. I think the
The
Necrons,
Necrons are
they're
so
probably the most boring
They're
Warhammer
just like-
faction.
the generals are like, I'm going to speak English, which is going to be real weird.
Which I kind of like.
I do
love
like
I kind of like that the Necrons actually are the more civilized. They in terms of the way they speak to you. You know, they're not like destroy the universe. They're just like, listen, we've been here forever. We know more than you. Why are you just blowing up all our shit? We got to get rid of you.
Yeah.
And they speak English, and your guys don't. That's so good.
What's
I like
the Necron that's obsessed with Shakespeare? Is that Transcend? Transcend the Infinite?
Trazyn. Yes, Trazyn the Infinite.
So my thing is about the Necron bosses in this game. There are various references that, we hear someone like chanting and praying while we're exploring. So before the battles and stuff, we didn't really kind of mention this.
Oh, yeah. There
We're
are the little
exploring-
in-between moments.
Yeah, there's like in-between little story choices you got to make. Not really heavy story choices, but they determine if you get hurt,
Yeah.
if you get healed, what
If you find a
resources
new
you get,
STC to make
get
new weapons.
Yeah.
yada, 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 whatever the fuck. But the thing that is always interesting is there's references to how sometimes you're just hearing chanting from like the Necron lords.
Yeah,
Just give that in battle.
absolutely.
Build a relationship with each, like in the tomb sections of the boss that you're going to fight later. So when you're doing a mission in their section, you're hearing them say shit until you kill them. Because I had no connections when these bosses, like,
Sure.
okay, there's this boss and he kind of looks cool. And now he's saying stuff that sounds neat, but I wish he was saying this stuff more so I would have had a full character
Yeah.
thing. And I feel like there's character stuff in Warhammer, but every game is afraid to do a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they just want to do
games, yes.
Yeah.
Books, no.
that's
Yeah,
the thing.
yeah.
I hear.
You're absolutely right.
You should just do
But you're
audiobooks.
absolutely right, though. I think there were a lot of missed opportunities with this game for the story. I think they could have. There was a lot of repetition in the dialogue.
God.
I think, especially if you do all 50 fucking missions.
Yeah, I couldn't.
You hear people just say literally the exact same thing many, many times. I think this game was longer than it needed to be.
Yeah.
I would agree with that
see
take. At least with the story they give us, it was longer than it needed to be.
Who was your favorite
Tech
overseer? Yeah.
Overseer, almost definitely Scaevola.
Scavola's
the
great.
the dialogue's great. All the plus signs, the equals, the greater thans and less thans,
She's
the
very
brackets.
technologically forward.
Yeah,
It's Faustinius for me.
he's good too. Yeah,
Faustinius is the most put upon fucking person in this galaxy. It seems like just like Jesus Christ. I have to navigate all these fucking idiots.
I like Kefra a lot because she's like,
The human.
hey, we've got
Yeah.
freaking Skitari out there who are hurting. We got to help them. Let's get our army on its best foot so that we can really attack this Tombworld.
prioritizing the troops is how you unlock literally every tech priest.
Yeah,
You only get new tech priests through
Yep.
Scavola's story.
Which
Yeah.
that is neat.
Or
But
not
also-
Scaevola,
Kefra.
Kefra's story. Yeah,
That is neat, but I
Yeah.
also am like, Kefra, shut up. Shut up. I get it. You care about your warriors. Ooh. They suck. My guys rule. Shut up.
The Skitari are so cool, though.
I don't care. They're
They are neat
tiny.
little models.
In the height hierarchy, they are shorter than the tech priests.
That's true.
Did either of you unlock the Castellan robot?
what?
Oh, no.
Oh, it's the best troop,
The
in,
best
the
troop in the game.
It takes up 4 squares. It's a big giant robot with huge fists. It looks like a 1950s like space movie robot.
Like,
They're
think
so
think
good.
about Tobor from The Great Beyond. Yeah. Castellans
Yeah.
are so cool.
Yeah. I can't remember what it's called, but the Advanced Battle Servitor. It has tank treads and a big gun instead of an arm.
Cataphrons.
Cataphrons. Yeah, that's a good one too.
Those guys are cool. The Cataphrons.
Yeah. See, more of that element of Mechanicus would be great. There
Yeah.
are some other very silly models in the Mechanicus lineup that would be cool to see in the second
In
game.
number 2, I hope we get the big leggy sniper.
Yeah, that's
boys.
what I was thinking of. Yeah, guys with stilts,
Yeah.
or the guys with the wings. They have like Leonardo da Vinci's flying machine
Right.
wings. Oh, that's crazy. There's so many absolutely ludicrous. There's horseback riding Skitari. They have like robot horses. There are robot dogs.
I love a robot dog.
Yeah, so much good stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's Mechanicus.
So, okay. So should I ask my questions now? I have
Yeah.
a list of questions I've been thinking about to ask you two about Warhammer.
This has been what I've been looking forward to, so I'm ready.
Me too.
Okay. So this is a new one.
Okay.
What the fuck is 30K?
Oh, boy.
Oh, so yeah, Horus Heresy.
The horse.
See,
heresy.
you know the
Oh.
Horus. You know that there is a Horus Heresy.
It's Warhammer.
I know Horus is heresizing.
It's the prequel to Warhammer 40,000. It's what sets up what's happening in the Warhammer 40,000 universe.
Okay.
So in the grand scheme of things, it's the story
So like
of
the Dune prequel books.
kinda. It's the Emperor first unifying Earth, and then going across the Milky Way galaxy, reuniting all of humanity, which has become separate from itself in this part of the story.
With his 12 golden boy sons.
With his 20 golden sons.
It's 12 now.
2 of whom you never know, because the Games Workshop always wanted to leave 2 important characters that would be totally made up by players.
I am Alfarius.
Yes, you get to create. Well, that's separate too, but you get. There are 2 Primarchs that are lost and damned or something like that. You get to make up for yourself who those guys were. It's totally locked out of the
That's
lore.
where you get to do kit bashing and
Yes.
whatever you want to put your model parts together and make a unique guy.
Yeah, but the Emperor, his 18 super duper sons, and all of their various sons who are lesser versions of them
I love the Bible.
go out, reconquer
They're all shorter. The more sons they are, right?
the less.
Faden is onto the height hierarchy
Yeah.
in 40K.
Generally speaking, the taller you are, the stronger you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more important you are. God Emperor.
Yeah. But when you think about it, this is a game on a tabletop with a bunch of little dudes that you're making fight each other.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, it
the-
makes
yeah, the
sense.
bigger guys are tougher,
No,
yeah.
absolutely. But it's funny that they constructed a culture where they have to universally make it true that the most important people are the ones that are taller.
That's definitely not true, though.
but
so,
it is true, isn't it not?
No.
The God Emperor is the tallest.
but he's,
No, I think the 3 foot tall on the tabletop model, what do they call it? The Warlord Titan?
yeah, there are Titans. There are
Yeah.
there are Knights. There are
but
Knights are
people
taller
with
than Jimmy
names.
Space.
people with names that.
Jimmy's.
I mean, so the Emperor wasn't necessarily the tallest, though. He had sons that were taller than him in many scenes.
Yeah.
fuck.
There were
Sanguinus is taller.
there
right?
are non-Space Marines that are really tall, really big. A lot of Mechanicus characters are actually really big because they've got these big
Call.
bulked out. Yeah,
sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So I guess there isn't a high.
It's a
hierarchy.
meme
It's fun
that
to
there's
say.
a height
It is.
hierarchy. It's a
It's
meme that
fun
there's a
to
height
say.
hierarchy, but
It just seems true.
it's kind of true.
Every time I hear the God
It's half
Emperor's
true.
like 30 feet tall or something.
But anyway, 30K
kicking buildings
is just what
down.
happens before then. There's eventually some of his sons betray him, blah 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 blah. That's why there are Chaos Space Marines.
I already asked what is an Ominissah, but can we get a quick?
Yep, the Omniscia is God. It's the
But
god.
for the
The
Tech
god.
Marines.
It's the god of humanity to the Tech Marines. They believe the Emperor was the embodiment. He was the Omniscia made manifest in real life. So the Emperor is the Omniscia, but
not really.
Really, he's like an avatar of the Omniscia. Is their
Okay,
perspective?
okay.
Yeah.
Not all of humanity shares that perspective. It's
No,
important.
only the
Only
Mechanicus
the Mechanicus.
believe in the
Right.
Omniscia, and they believe in the Emperor
And,
as the
and,
Omniscia.
and the Mechanicus have the benefit of being like, well, we're the only ones who actually understand this tech.
yes,
Right.
exactly.
And they do, the parentheses, they don't, but
Exactly. Yes, they and that's the thing. STCs, as we referenced earlier, is how you make equipment. So they are seeking and discovering standard template constructs, so they can learn the blueprints to the machines that make machines for them.
Yes.
But they don't,
Don't
know
know
how to
how
make
to
the
make those
machines.
machines.
They just know how to make machines that make machines.
right.
Yep.
That is the Mechanicus.
That does rule.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are they tech priests?
Yeah. They.
We kind of also answered this.
So
they pray.
so actually,
do pray a
the
lot.
lore reason is.
Uncle's just going.
On Mars, there was a super duper technologically advanced society thousands of years
Protheans.
before the Imperiums.
Yeah.
Humanity. No, this is human
Oh.
technologically advanced society.
Not everything's taken from Alien.
They are.
No, I said Protheans. That's a Mass
that's from
Effect.
Mass Effect. But
You'll learn later.
because of the advanced technology, because of human nature, blah 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 blah, apocalyptic war on Mars.
Right, of
they had
course.
actually re-terraformed Mars and made it a green, verdant land,
I love making Mars verdant.
and then they fucked it again.
I love
and
fucking
so
Mars over again.
All of the Martian technologically advanced people that survived went underground. And in this underground society, the story is they realized technology is super advanced, super dangerous. We can't really handle it. We've advanced it too far without knowing what to do with it, blah, 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 blah. So they ritualize every single aspect of technological society to make sure there's a strict hierarchy on who can use what, who can know what.
Right.
And
who's
just
the
because
tallest?
of the nature of time, eventually this became an absolutely corrupted, ridiculous, ludicrous,
Yep.
labyrinthine, Byzantine religion system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is philosophy really dangerous?
That's Warhammer.
There you go.
All right.
I think that answers that.
What's a Noosphere, which we also
did talk about the
It's
Noosphere.
Ghost Wi-Fi.
Basically.
Why do these nerds hate magic?
Because magic is heresy.
Yeah.
Because
Magic comes from hell.
Yeah, so magic is warp energy,
Okay.
which is real. It's kind of like Dragon Age. The
Yeah.
veil is a psychic projection of living things.
Right.
The
Well,
warp,
okay, kind of.
kind of. I know.
Like-
So there are elements of that in the
Yeah.
veil. I haven't played the most recent game. I don't know all of the lore. But
I'm more just saying even Inquisition complicates that a lot.
okay, well, but you get that concept.
I do get
and
that
there are in
concept.
many fantasy universes there is a veil, a magical realm, a parallel
The
magical realm.
consciousness.
Yeah,
The
where
Fae.
consciousness becomes incarnate.
Yeah.
That's the warp. But because Warhammer is a very negative perspective on everything, they just assume that every living being mostly just obsesses over hell and the worst parts of everything, which is kind of true.
Yeah.
And so the psychic projection and emanation of most life in the galaxy is just horror and hell.
Okay.
And if you're going to use any kind of magic, air quotes, which is just psychic power, you're tapping into the energy of hell.
Okay.
So it is literally all hell.
So hell energy.
And if you use too much, bad things
Unless
happen.
you channel the Emperor, but that's a whole
That's
different
a whole,
thing.
that's plot armor,
that,
basically.
that might actually fall into my next question.
Yeah.
Who am I playing as?
You're playing as Faustinius.
Faustinius.
Am I?
Yes.
But am I actually?
Yes.
Yes.
Are we sure Faustinius isn't also therefore being controlled by the forces of this world?
Okay.
So in the lore, no, he's not.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
'Cause-
didn't know if that was a factor because it could be.
No.
It could be.
If-
That's
sure,
a valid
So
question.
if you can kill the Necron overlord of the planet, you're not being controlled by a Necron overlord.
right, but more I was saying like,
Is Jimmy Space controlling
is Jimmy
Faustinius?
Space controlling Faustinius? Or is someone above Faustinius controlling? Is there maybe like another tech pope?
Archmagos, there is somebody above him on Mars, but that's
And-
very far away.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
And
too
so,
far away for
yeah,
them to have any sort of psychic connection.
No psychic
there are no psychics
psychic
in the
connection.
Mechanicus.
Sorry, not
Psychic
sorry.
band.
I didn't mean psychic connection. I meant
Noosphere.
tech connection.
No, so you can
Not
only
psychic.
you can only
Ghost
send
Network is not
messages.
psychic.
You can only send messages across the stars, like outside of a solar system,
Okay.
through the warp. So you have to send. So you have to have
So you send,
specialized
like
mutants
a-
who send psychic projections through the warp.
Oh.
You have to have somebody on the other side who can receive it, transmit it, and then interpret the psychic vision they receive.
God.
That's about as close as you
That
can
rules.
get to interplanetary communication.
Why wouldn't
It's like dial-up email.
Why
Yes.
wouldn't at this
Yes.
point we send like a box with a recording through the warp?
you
still opening the
can,
warp.
you often do. It's more dangerous to send physical things through the.
Okay.
You're way more likely to get lost.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Without a
also,
Geller field? Uh-oh, I'm bringing up terms.
yeah, you send things
A what
into the
field?
warp. A psychic force field,
Okay.
Yeah.
which protects you from hell while you're
so
traveling
like
through it.
the Spacers Guild,
Yes.
Folding
Right.
Reality with
Yes.
the Spice Melange.
But you send
And
things
only the
through
guild
the warp.
navigators can do it safely.
Yes.
You got it.
Okay.
And you send things through the warp, it might end up not where you actually sent it, and it might not end up in the time you sent it. It might go backwards in time, it might go
Or
forwards in
forwards,
time.
yeah.
why even use the warp then?
Because it's the
only
only,
way.
option. There is no faster than light travel, period.
God, this sucks.
Yeah.
I would
It's
just
the-
not
it
do
is the
I would
only
simply
way.
not leave.
Outside of, actually, that's not true. There is the webway, which is a psychic
Internet?
That's Eldar
It's
thing.
the psychic Eldar realm that was constructed within the warp, but it's a protected space within the warp that connects different spaces and physical. So you can basically teleport by traveling through the webway safely. Unfortunately, the webway has been corrupted. It's full of demons now.
I
And-
hate it when the webway's full of
yeah.
demons.
And actually, the Emperor's ultimate goal in the Horus Heresy, which he had to keep secret for a bunch of reasons, and that's what caused the heresy, was he was trying to create a human webway. And that failed.
so
The
like
Tau
humans.
did something that's not warp travel too, right? Or did they just
They're
do-
just so the Tau, as with the
just
Tau,
go to
are
sleep.
just technologically way more advanced than everybody else.
Yeah.
because
They may
and
have
so
something
they're
close to
they're
FTL.
approaching FTL.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to be a Tau?
Yeah.
Every time I
The
hear
Tau
about all
rule.
Warhammer
I
things, I'm
love
like,
the
well,
Tau.
Tau obviously is like the least bad of a bad
Yeah,
situation.
the Tauva
Pretty
is
much.
the way.
They just don't have the gothic vibes of every other faction.
Right.
That's why you don't choose Tau.
Okay. And I hear they're underpowered.
Often
Tabletop
in
rules, yeah.
most of editions they've been overpowered, but recently I've heard not so much.
It's all about matchup. It really is all about what army you get matched up against. The
And
Tau like a castling strategy where you stay on the back line,
God, that
bait them
sounds
into
like
your
me.
firing lines.
Yeah.
Yeah. 0 melee units.
No melee whatsoever, which is hard because the rest of the game is a huge melee focus.
Okay. Why do the Necrons and Tech Bros hate each other? Does everyone just hate each other?
It's everybody hates each other. These guys super duper hate each other because more than any other faction, the Necrons prove humanity does not have the highest level of technology in the galaxy. They every element of Necron technology is better than human technology, and the entire philosophy of the Mechanicus is that we are approaching godhood through our technology.
So anything that
and
seems
our
advanced
technology
is heretic.
Yes, human technology specifically is the only holy God-prescribed technology. All alien technology is evil, and that's why the Xenorites.
Heretical.
That's why the Xenorites, Scaevola, is so dangerous amongst your advisors because she actually wants to use alien technology, and that's literally heresy.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the Akashic record?
Oh, geez, that's just out of humanity. The Akashic record?
Yeah.
You don't know about that? Oh, wow. I got to pull up a Wikipedia page for this. This is based in human history.
What?
So there are a lot of just random ancient human history things referenced throughout it. Is it one of the verses that's shared?
I think so.
Okay, where did that question come from? I guess is what.
Oh, I fucking don't remember. I have a question on here that says, "What is the Akashic record?"
From Wikipedia, in the religion of Theosophy, the spiritual movement...
Theosophy.
Theosophy!
Theosophy. The spiritual movement
That's
called
my favorite movie actor.
Anthroposophy. The Akashic records are believed by Theosophists to be a compendium of all universal events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent ever to have occurred in the past, present, or future in terms of all entities and life forms, not just human. So for 40K to pull that into their lore makes total sense.
Okay. Yeah. Are there gay people?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is Mars the human empire capital?
No.
No. It is the capital of the Mechanicus, which is like a parallel government to the Imperium.
Okay.
Terra, Earth, is the center of the human governmental structure. Yeah.
What ties the Imperium together?
Jimmy Space.
Is it just Jimmy Space?
The Emperor, yeah. So the Emperor,
I mean, that makes sense.
Is in an
Emperor.
endlessly dying state, locked to an ancient device called the Golden Throne on Earth.
It's so funny how so much of my tabletop ideas I ever have are just Warhammer adjacent. I don't know what's up with that.
So basically, Warhammer is, that's right. It's Warhammer. The warp is so fucked in 40K, basically, that the only way you can navigate while you're in it is by marking where you are in relation to Earth, because the Emperor is sending out in his deathless, almost dead state, attached to this life support / psychic projection machine.
1,000 psychers must be sacrificed.
10,000.
Is it 10,000?
Every day, 10,000 human psychics must be sacrificed to this machine so he can continue to send his psychic projections into the galaxy so that spaceships can navigate.
The children yearn to be gobbled up by our Emperor.
Yes.
True.
Yep. And so that's what binds the Imperium, is that everybody needs to ultimately defend Terra so you can keep space traveling.
Yeah.
And there is a giant military network that is managing this. Space Marines are a part of that. The
AdMech are a part of that.
The Adeptus Mechanicus are a part of that. The Imperial...
The Inquisition.
Yep. All these different factions.
I hear there's hot lady Inquisitors.
Yep.
Sure.
Hell yeah.
There's also ugly lady Inquisitors.
I don't care about those ones.
Yeah.
Or maybe I do. I don't know. Bad bitch is a bad bitch. Last question. How long is the longest gun?
Oh.
Like in all of Warhammer?
Yeah.
Or just the Imperium of Man.
No, all of Warhammer. How long is the longest gun?
Probably the size of a planet.
Okay. Got a planet-sized gun?
Blackstone cannons, maybe? Blackstone Fortress?
Blackstone fortresses are more like the size of a small continent, maybe, or a large city. That's they kind of screw the pooch on a lot of sizing and measuring in this universe.
Which is not good for a height hierarchy.
Probably an Exterminatus cannon, though.
So specifically, there are some Arc Mechanicuses, like the giant ship you're running everything from in this game.
Right.
There are some of those in the lore that have a gun the size of the ship. So the ship will open up and there's a giant continent-sized cannon on it.
Designed to blow up planets.
There
in one
are
go.
also, so the orcs specifically will colonize giant asteroids or small moons and then just build whole cities that are rocket boosters so they
Hell
can
yeah.
pilot moons and asteroids.
Hell yeah.
And those will have giant planet-sized guns on them
Hell
sometimes because orcs, of course, will have the stuff like that.
Orcs, of course.
Yeah. So those are some examples of the biggest guns, I would say.
Okay, what about the biggest guns one person can hold? I'm thinking
Like not in a vehicle.
Handheld.
handheld. And then we'll do vehicle next. That isn't spaceship.
Probably. So not in a vehicle. It'd be a heavy weapon from probably one of the human factions. Probably a Space Marine weapon that you'd have a Terminator wield.
Oh, the Devastators. They
Yeah.
got those huge rocket cannons.
Yep. So like the largest human wielded weapon would be like a 75 caliber fully automatic cannon.
Okay.
Or a large plasma cannon the size of a small
like a
car.
rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What
Are
about
Space
the
Marines
large,
still human? I guess technically, yeah.
Yep, they are.
largest ground vehicle weapon?
They're
gun?
post-humans.
Post-humans.
That's how
I
they're
guess-
that's how they're referred to in the books.
Can
guess
I
if
say
there's-
the hammerhead cannon? Because I love the Tau.
Yeah, do you
a
want to
big
talk
one.
about the hammerhead
That's
cannon?
a very big one.
What is that?
So hammerheads are hover tanks that the
Okay.
Tau pilot, and
Hell yeah. Love a hover
specifically they have these giant ion rail rifles. Or not, they could be an ion cannon or they could be a rail rifle.
And plasma.
Or plasma, that's true. I prefer the rail cannon configuration the most because who doesn't love a rail cannon?
Who doesn't love a railgun?
Yeah, and it's in the lore. It is said that this can shoot like around the circumference of a planet. They can sight
Hell
it in
yeah.
and shoot
The
from that
longest
far away.
range artillery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But bigger guns exist.
Bigger guns do exist.
There are
Probably-
Titans.
Yeah, I was just
So
gonna
there
say
are
that.
skyscraper-sized walking robot machines that the Mechanicus has. So honestly,
Okay.
like a fully
Man.
fleshed out Titan battle game would. I know there are Titan battle games. They're not very
Apocalypse
good.
scale.
Yeah. But that would be great to see a video game where you pilot or you control a
this is the
Titan
thing.
Legion.
Okay, this is
That'd
the
be
thing.
cool.
This is
Yeah.
the thing that gets me about Warhammer games.
Yeah.
Why aren't we always doing the cool stuff at all the times?
Because there are people who like every part of Warhammer.
But
There are
there's
people
no-
who like the small scale stuff. There are people who like bounty hunters on giant city-sized planets, or planet-sized cities. There are people who like the space witches.
But like, why isn't there
You've seen
like,
this one, I'm sure.
why isn't there like a game where I am playing skyscraper shape?
There are.
Okay.
I don't think there's only maybe one of them out. I haven't
Why
played
don't
it.
I hear about these ones? When I hear about these games, I don't.
There are dozens and dozens of
Yeah.
Warhammer video games.
I
Most
just-
of them are small, under-advertised, and not very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why. You haven't heard of them because they're not very good. There's potential, and they're getting better. I think Warhammer games broadly are getting
People
better.
like
they're on an
Rogue
incline,
Trader or
yeah.
whatever it's called.
I want that game very much.
But the problem is it uses the Rogue Trader system, which is a terrible
That
RPG.
sounds awful.
Yeah.
I've heard about the Rogue Trader system. And I don't hear good things.
No.
I want to try the PlayStation 2 Fire Warrior game.
No, you
even
don't.
though I hear it's
It's
famously
the
bad.
worst. It's one of the worst
I mean,
first-person shooters
That's
of all
easy
time.
to do.
One of the
You can
absolute
easily try
worst.
that.
Yeah.
That-
There are
that-
emulators
that's
you can
easy
find.
to do.
Yeah.
It's a first-person shooter where you play as a Tau, famously the most accurate marksman in
Hell
the
yeah.
galaxy.
And bad shooting
However,
mechanics.
bad shooting mechanics.
Yeah.
That actually kind of rules.
Random
because
accuracy. The
Means
bullets do not go where you are aiming.
That
where the
means you
reticle
just have to
is.
be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it
I
doesn't.
don't know.
It means
No,
you
I-
just keep shooting.
Right, but
It's terrible.
I want to see someone who speed runs it, who's like learned to like hone that randomness.
That'd be crazy.
No, there's one of those. It's one of those games you really can't.
There are sickos out there, though.
Sure.
That's the thing. That's what I keep thinking about. Who's the sicko who loves the Tau and is playing this game repeatedly to try to get the world record?
Optimizing.
Right.
Yeah.
Should we get to the big questions?
Should we get to questions? Not mine.
I think so.
Okay.
Our first question comes from Unga Bunga, who would like to know what are things that this game does better than XCOM versus things that you wish it took from XCOM.
Bring back shot accuracy.
No,
God
fuck that.
damn it.
So my favorite thing is that it doesn't have shot
My
accuracy.
favorite thing is that it doesn't have shot accuracy.
I don't see what missing adds to a game.
Frustration?
Yeah.
Just frustration.
Because the
I
enemy
think
can
only
miss.
frustration?
So what?
That's great. I love it when the enemy misses and they have a good chance to hit me.
I love it
feels
when I'm
so
standing
powerful.
in the face
That
of
is-
an alien with a 99%
How do you
chance
feel
to hit,
powerful
and
when you
10
win a
times in
dice
row I
roll?
miss.
That's what I don't understand. Like
I said I
that's,
feel powerful. I didn't say I am.
and that's what I mean. How do you feel powerful from winning a dice roll?
Sometimes
That's-
you look at someone and say, my skill is luck. Like, that just rules.
Okay.
Oh, but specifically, I like it in Fire Emblem because they have cool dodge animations most of the time, especially in the GBA Fire Emblems, where, like, especially the Sword Master be like, I did a dodge, idiot.
I like the second question.
Yeah, but we didn't answer what things that we should take
Oh,
from XCOM
yeah.
and put in.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
honestly can't think of anything.
No,
No,
there is
there's-
one. No. There actually is one.
Okay.
The
Watch Faden
posters.
say random accuracy.
Posters.
Yeah, the posters like in XCOM 2, where you can make these wild fucking propaganda posters.
I do remember that. That's
Those
such a small
rule.
part
So
of the game.
honestly, more small flavor moments would be cool.
Yeah.
Actually, especially
out.
with Warhammer. Like
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was saying
Oh.
like it'd be cool to line up your guys in a model like thing and like take a
Yeah.
picture and like
because you
after-
can customize everything. You can
Right.
colorize your
Well,
tech priests.
they
You
have
can-
to all be the same color, and I hated that.
Yeah.
Well, you're picking one color for your army. That's how Warhammer works.
Yes.
I don't care.
It's an army.
I would
Yeah.
like to have every character have different colors because that would have helped me.
That's not an army.
No.
That would have helped me.
That's not war.
That's not war.
You don't understand.
War
hammers.
never changes, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, but I would have helped me like differentiate which one's my hit guy, which one's my really good hit guy, yada yada.
Sure. With this game being one that physically changes how your characters look with upgrades, and attachments, how important is it that important is that for you when
Yeah.
playing games? Example, if I equip a new sword and it doesn't change the model of my character, I am instantly upset and lose drive for new loot and upgrades.
I feel exactly the same way.
I do too.
I genuinely am like viscerally upset.
I love a dress-up game.
Yeah, the game I played last month, the samurai game,
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima. That's a dress-up game, and that's the best part of the game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Show me all
Show
of
me
the
the stuff.
changes I make to my guy.
Yeah,
It doesn't bother me if it doesn't have it though.
very bothers me. So
Yeah.
this was very
I'm
important to me.
irked.
Yeah,
I get that. I want I totally get that. Just for me, it's like I like it if it happens. If it doesn't, I play Final Fantasy. Like whatever.
next question.
I think so.
Red Alert Raise the Shield says, what's the replayability of the game? Is this a game you could come back to every year, or is it more of a one-and-done game? For me, I really like Warhammer. I had a lot of fun playing this game. If I played on the hardest difficulty, I could play this game maybe in 2 years. I could play this game again. I would not play this every year. I will maybe play this 1 or 2 more times in my life, maybe.
I want to come back to it.
Yeah.
I think this has replayability for me because I like games where you're encouraged to explore different class combinations.
Yeah.
I think that I will be playing this again just because there's so much to do. There's so much variance. There's so many different missions that you might not see in one playthrough.
Yep.
I can't imagine playing a game every year, though. I don't.
I can't wait
get
to
that.
talk
I used to
about
do that, and
Also-
we're going to talk about that next month.
Also,
we
Yeah.
are.
you can't imagine playing a game every year, but you can imagine constantly going back to No Man's Sky for many years.
That's different. That's different, though. I think that's different.
No, it's not, but we'll...
In my mind, it is.
I think
No,
hold
it's
on.
not.
You're right. No. It is different because it's not
Maybe.
like you're doing a yearly
There's
kind
new
of
content.
pilgrimage. Yeah,
There's new content. That is different. That is
different.
different. You're right.
This is a game
It's
that has been
similar.
updated with love and passion over the last 7 years.
For the worse.
Ugh. There's the door.
Beansprout asks, with my limited knowledge about Warhammer, here are my questions. Do you have any fan theories? What's a fan... Uncle, I feel like you have fan theories.
Oh, I do have fan theories. Mostly revolving around the Primarchs because not all of them have been brought back into 40K
Right,
yet.
of course.
Yeah.
They're all coming. If Games Workshop can sell a model, they're gonna
gonna
bring
do
it
it,
back.
yeah.
Yeah. My favorite fan theory is it's just my headcanon. It's my interpretation of the missing 11th Primarch.
Well, fan theories are all just headcanons.
I mean, no, but this is like there is nothing that will ever confirm this because they've affirmed that they will never touch the 2nd and 11th Primarchs. That's just for the players to make up. In my headcanon, I have a very specific version of what happened to him, what he was like, how he was raised. Whether or not he was a he is something I like to play around with because they're all boys, and there are many mentions in the lore that a couple important characters are like, he really shouldn't have done that. He really should have had some daughters.
But what if he did?
Anyway, the 11th
Or
Primarch.
what if he did have a son? And
I
she
have my own
transitioned?
concepts about that. I've got ideas, but that's something I like to talk about. And then the Night Lords books are really good. And the third one ended years and years ago, and Aaron Dembski-Bowden, the author, has been talking about writing another one, and he just hasn't gotten around to it. And there are a lot of possibilities with what they could do with the Night Haunter Primarch, who is the only Primarch who basically committed suicide.
Conrad Cruz,
the Night Haunter. He might.
The Night Haunter sounds like a weird Pokemon nickname.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it is a Pokemon name,
Right.
but with Night in front of it.
Right, and which is weird. Why is Night in front of Haunter?
Because he haunts the night.
I mean, in this situation, yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Dale, do you have any fan theories that you particularly like in Warhammer?
I like the fan theory that... No, I don't actually.
I have one. I have one that I've been constructing this entire time.
Go for it.
Jimmy Space is FDR.
Okay.
Huh.
All right. Was anyone's response reasonable given the circumstances? I've been trying to parse this question. I mean, I guess we can take this as was anyone's response in Warhammer ever reasonable?
Do the means justify the ends, sort of thing?
Do the ends justify the means?
That's it.
Or are they reacting reasonably given the world they are in and the circumstances they are in?
I mean, Necron technology is pretty potent. It can fuck you up. So the characters who want to just get rid of shit, just bomb it all,
Kinda
blow it
get
up,
it,
it makes sense. Yeah.
But also rip.
Mm.
What parts did you find compelling?
I love the customization.
Yeah.
I love the exploring of the maps.
I do
when
like
you get
exploring
into
the
a
map.
Tombworld,
Yeah.
Trying to figure out... Now I know. Trying to figure out the fastest way to get to the battle without running into Awakening.
Or the way to manage the meter.
Yeah.
Because you can still take the long route and kill the structures and make out ahead if you
Potentially,
do it.
yeah.
Is there anything you would add / change about the game? Kind of hit this with the XCOM thing, but is there anything broader we would add?
I
mean, I kind of already said it. Boss dialogue before
Yes.
the boss mission, just having a connection to the bosses.
I was
Faden
actually going
wants
to say,
Faden wants to fuck the tech priest.
yeah.
That
sure you
seems
do.
normal. I don't get it.
Some cutscenes would be nice.
Yeah.
Like some more interplay between characters would be nice.
I don't know if I'd want cutscenes.
I mean, I'm not talking anything long or extensive.
No,
I mean,
but like
getting to see at least one Argus lighter land on the planet
be
once
cool.
would be nice.
Yeah,
Getting
okay,
to
yeah.
see the entrance to the tomb your guys are spending the whole mission in would be nice.
Yeah,
Some
Seeing it in the
grander set
world,
pieces
right.
would be nice because this is Warhammer.
That's true.
Everything
That's
is
true.
grand set pieces,
Yeah.
and you don't get a lot of that.
I was thinking between characters. I'm like, I don't know if I want that. I think the dialogue's good enough. But you're right. We should have some of the Warhammer imagery, which we don't have really. That's why I also
as
thought
much.
they were battling in the internet for the longest
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Would have helped someone like me. We got one last question, I believe.
Oh,
Do we?
Hilver?
Yes.
Love Hilver. Always pulling through.
All right. Last question comes from Hilver. What is another IP you would like to see an XCOM style strategy game based on?
Oh, whoa. I could go a lot of ways with this. Gundam. Gundam comes to mind immediately.
Gundam would be great.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Into the Breach, but Gundam-y.
Exactly.
Yeah, holy shit.
Warhammer was really the only IP that I'd be interested in seeing this more of. But although I say that, old
Mega
game,
Man.
kind of similar to this, Gladius for the Xbox. You ever play that?
Is it a Warhammer game?
No.
Oh.
It is just a fantasy, vaguely Roman.
I would hope so with that name.
Gladiator
Yeah.
fighting.
Oh, wasn't that one of
game.
the launch titles for the 360? Or am I thinking
Not
of
on the
something
360.
else?
It was the original Xbox.
Okay.
And you just traveled around this map, and you had combat where there's vaguely XCOM-y, but also with button timed moves that you could choose. Hard to explain, I guess, but a game like that would be cool to see again. That's kind of XCOM-y, like another fantasy style sword and board kind of XCOM.
Just because we watched the movie yesterday, what if we had a wicked Animal Rebellion strategy game?
I wouldn't play it.
Huh.
You get hero characters like Alphaba and Fiero.
Yeah, that movie was all right.
That movie was it was all right but fun, but no, but like a Redwall would be cool. Just
Redwall,
little
I would
fucking
be all
animal
about.
fantasy battles,
Yeah.
like Fire Emblem style.
Freaking Martin with the sword and board, Martin of Redwall. And we
yeah.
get the cool badger guy from the different book. I forget his name. Then there was a hare, like a hare jester.
I
in one of
love
the books.
Armello.
Oh, Redwall's so good.
Never got into it.
One of the few book series I read a lot of as a child.
Yeah.
The other one being the Time Warp Trio by Jonathan Szaka, or however you say his last name.
Trying to think.
Love the Time Warp
What
Trio.
is Star Trek? Because I've been Star Trek pill recently. I don't think it would work.
I don't see why it wouldn't work.
But like,
It could, I guess.
is Star Trek?
You
really-
send out the red
but there's
suits
not
to
enough
explore.
combat in
Is that interesting
Star
for Star
Trek.
Trek?
Yeah,
which
there are
no.
two kinds of phasers.
Yeah.
Like
Handheld and shoulder
Yeah,
mounted.
right,
Yeah.
or set to stun or kill.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Against the Borg, though. That could be kind of cool. Like exploring a Borg cube.
this would literally just be Necrons again.
Right.
That's the thing that would
Right.
kill me. It's just the Borg cube, but Necron, and it would be like, we gotta do it before the Borg Queen awakens. And it's, honestly, you could just probably mod this game very easily to have a Star Trek skin.
Whoa.
Good.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to talk about one of my favorite style XCOM games that I think does shallow, like mechanics better than Mechanicus. Mario plus Rabbids.
Okay.
Whoa, forgot about that.
It's
not a.
Mario with guns game with the Rabbids from the Ubisoft Rayman Rabbids.
Yeah, I remember those.
I've heard good things about those
It's
games.
actually really good.
however,
The Rabbids are the minions of the video game worlds, and they are cringe as fuck, and it's
Yeah.
hard to be around
For that
them.
reason, I am out.
It's rough, but it's so good when there's like, oh, you can extend your movement range by having Luigi jump on Mario. Mario kind of just like does a hop to launch Luigi.
I've
further
played the Mario
thing.
and Luigi game.
Yeah, well, you give Yoshi a rocket launcher. That's just the secret to winning me over.
Okay.
Yoshi gets a rocket. No, sniper gets a sniper.
Egg sniper.
No, they're just lasers.
Oh.
So they're truly just Mario's like dual pistol running around the map shooting like things with these like blaster pistols. It's kind of wild. It's a little wild. They just gave them straight up gun looking things. Sure, they're a little kind of toy-y looking thing, but it also kind of looks like the plasma rifle from Halo too at the same time. And
I should
Mario.
play the Shadowrun games.
Oh, you
Those
know
look
what?
pretty all right.
A Netrunner tactics RPG.
Shadowrun.
I think. Is that what Shadowrun is?
Shadowrun is fantasy cyberpunk.
Right, but I like Netrunner.
Sure.
We need to play some Netrunner. That's actually what this is making me realize. Do you
So what's our game next
Do you have an
month?
opinion on Netrunner, Uncle?
I don't know what it is.
Oh, shit. We should play that sometime. All right, what's our game next month?
I always get worried when Faden says we should play that sometime.
Yeah.
It's a card game. It's a good card game.
I
Asymmetrical.
don't like card games, so.
Well, it's an asymmetrical card
That's
game.
the Richard
One's-
Garfield one, right?
Right,
Yeah.
I think. One's the corpo, one's the hacker, the runner, and you have to try to beat them. And you both have different goals. I have 2 starter sets.
Conversation for another time.
Oh,
Yes.
fucking Christ. Right. Yeah, of course. Sorry. The next game we're playing next month, we are having our biggest episode
Probably.
ever.
Yeah,
Not
it's gonna
probably.
It's gonna be big.
Even if we had 2 more people, which we will have for sure,
Oh,
that's
geez.
bigger.
That's going to be huge.
Yeah.
I do have to say, loyal audience, I may or may not be joining because I'm going out for an audition in the coming days. I will be trying out for a play. The theater calls. And if I get the role, it's going to be a huge time sink. So
We'll see for
we'll
next
see.
month.
We'll see
but
for next month.
For the other months, maybe not as much.
Right.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
We hope you get it.
I'm so
We do.
hopeful for 2 things. That I get the role or that I get time to play KOTOR. I'm honestly flipping the coin
KOTOR
here.
2. Next game's month.
KOTOR
Next
2.
month's
Yep.
game.
We're
Knights of the Old
We
Republic.
said it
2.
last year.
Yep.
We said in a year's time we will do what I did and play a year apart.
That's how they were released.
That's how they were released. You know what?
Which is wild.
That is how they were released.
If you need a sequel in a short amount of time, you go to Obsidian Studios.
Apparently.
Yep.
And so, yeah, we're going to be playing KOTOR 2. And if you're going to play along with us, do not download the Sith Lords Restored Content mod.
Can I ask why
Yeah,
you're
why?
so opposed to it?
I'm
I
not
truly
adamant.
don't understand.
I'm only opposed to it for the project of the podcast where I want to play the game as native. And also, I want to have a very valid discussion of why some things are cut. Because I don't think there are some content in that game I think is truly bad and makes literally the last part of the game very miserable.
Okay.
And we can get into more detail about that later.
Well, that's what we're going to do next.
That's what we're going to do next.
And that's all, folks.
Yeah, I hope you all have a good month. You can find me. You can find me on Blue Sky, Faden Cross. Hit me up there, ask me questions, follow me, whatnot. Also, I am putting a list of verified Palestinian people to send money to that has been vetted by online communities. So if you don't see that in there, I have it saved, so it should go up there. If you don't see it, yell at me to tell me to put it in the episode description. If you have money, please donate.
You can't find me, but I second what Faden said about Palestine.
I third that notion, and then I do want to shout out kind of friend of the show, Squid Related Games.
Oh,
SRG.
yeah.
My buddy Jonah
was on the very first episode of our podcast.
The very first, yeah, for Golden Throne. That's not the name of the game.
Nope.
The
What is
Golden
it?
City, the
Nope.
Lost City, the Forgotten Golden Lost, the Forgotten City.
There you go.
Anyway, Squid Related Games has a bunch of free to download games out on their itch.io page.
Yep.
SRG Squid Related Games. They're really fun, really short form, bite-sized little
Experimental
pixel
things,
games. Yeah.
usually.
Very cool concepts out there. I was playing one called I think it's called Slot Car Panic, where you start out and there's a slot car just going around a square track, and you're not really quite sure what to do, and then these obstacles begin to appear on the screen, and then you realize you don't control the slot car, you control the size of the track. You can make it bigger or smaller
that's
to try and
clever.
avoid the obstacles
That's
as they're
clever.
bouncing around.
Interesting.
Very cool concept.
Cool. Well, until next month, everyone. See you later.
Goodbye.
Nice knowing you.